You came to the right place.
The opinions and comments by the Blue Moon Guys are of their own and are not to be mistaken for those of YouTube, EPE, or the Presleys. Now, our hairstyles are another thing. Enjoy the show.
That's not a good sign starting off the day, getting to the beginning all screwed up. I figured out what's causing that now. I just realized. So I guess I'll have to stop that. All right, let's see who we got on board here. Anybody? Let's see. They're not coming through yet. Why aren't they coming through? Am I blocked? No. Why aren't they coming through? Layers, comments. Maybe nobody's making comments yet. That could be it. Hello, there's Susan. Susan's here. But there's not.
Hi,
There
Susan.
we go. Hello, Susan.
Hiya, guys.
Come on board. We're going to have fun today.
All aboard.
What the hell is that little thing? Oh, I couldn't tell. What was that little? Hey, Brent. There's Brent.
Mr. Arnold
Susan,
is in the
plus we got
house.
is there anybody out there other than Susan and Brent? We got to have more. It says 10. But got a lot planned. We're going to finish off the last train to Memphis today. I'm going to kind of do a little more of a cliff notes on the last couple chapters. And then we'll decide whether we want to move on to the Colonel books or do Careless Love next. I'm going to leave that all up to you. You guys just let me know that. Johan, hello. Brent again. Lily, hello, Lily. So, anyway, let's get over here. Rich is busy today, taking care of some personal business that he's been waiting for to be able to get done. So, if all goes well, he'll be back with us next week, hopefully. Let's see. Hi, Susan. Okay. Oops, I went to the wrong one there. I gotta go to here. Main chat. Why is my that looks funky? Oh, that's because I got a different background. Never mind. All right, so on each one of the screens,
it actually reads easier. Sorry,
Yeah.
I fell in your soup there.
No,
Hiya,
that's all right.
Seacat, Lily, and Johannes.
Oh, CCAT, yeah, Valerie, yeah. Hello. So,
Just
if
a
you
word.
wanna-
Just a word to everybody out there. I was saying to Rick before we came on, I made myself a cup of coffee in haste, and it's way stronger than I usually make my coffee. So if I seem a little wired in about 40 minutes to an hour, it's because I'm wired.
Well, I got me 2 cups here, and I forgot the other one I just poured in, and it was hot. All right, so in each one of the screens that we go to today, you're going to notice in the bottom, there's a little announcement. I put it there where Rich would normally be. And I thought we'd try another poll contest. And what I'd like to do during this show, put in your thought of what you think is one of the funniest scenes in any Elvis movie. Just put it in the chat, because I print up the chat. I can print up the chats afterwards. So give me a way just to keep track of them all. So if there's any, just put it in there. I don't know what it's all about. Hey, Banjo Paul.
Paul.
Hey. Yeah, that's right. So put your thoughts in. See what y'all let me know, and what I'll do is I'll put them in. We'll start a poll, and we'll do that. We'll do similar to the butt poll, but it'll be the funny bone. It's going to be a crazy day. I after yesterday's watch party, man, I zonked out and I took almost a 6-hour nap, and I got up and I worked on the show for today. So yeah, just put your thoughts in there. Any movie scene. I got my favorite, but so I'll put that in there. I'd like to try to get at least 4 to do a nice poll each week, and then we'll have a contest at the end as the funniest, what everybody thinks is the funniest scene. Everybody seemed to have fun. So, and the funniest movie scene, the bathroom configuration, Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'll add that. Thanks, Brent. And anyway, so yes, the last week here. Let me get to. Are we in the main chat? Oh, I gotta get to the layers. All right. So news and stuff.
Can I share my funniest scene?
Do it.
Although it wasn't in the movie, but we know it's out there. Mine is that scene from On Tour when they're riding in the limo
Oh yeah.
and they're
That's
talking
that's
about the rocket launch.
yeah. That's the look at how the launch go. Um, the now you got me sidetracked.
Um,
Yeah, that was it. They put it in the. I think that was in the This Is Elvis, documentary.
yeah,
I believe
yeah,
they did. All right, so we've done some watch parties. They've been pretty good. We've had some great conversations. One of them went 3.5 hours long, and we had a
yeah.
nice chat afterwards. And we had a great one yesterday. Sam Thompson he tells his Elvis stories. Great storyteller, man. This is in Denmark, and I thought it was fun. And I think we've had some really good documentaries, and so so on Tuesdays at midnight or Wednesday morning, we're going to continue with that one because we've done 3 or 4 in a row. We tried Saturday and it seemed to turn out pretty good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it about a half an hour later because I don't want it to overstep on Rich's show, which we did for a few minutes. And normally his shows, I looked when I was scheduling it and saw that his shows were averaging less than an hour and a half, but I didn't really take into account that there were some other ones. But anyway, I don't want to be stepping on his toes. So this coming Tuesday is the second part of the BBC documentary from '87, and it's called "Cut Me and I Bleed." That'll be fun. That was a great one. The first one, I don't sound like nobody.
We can't see it because the stars are over it.
How's that?
There we go. Hey,
All right.
Banjo Paul, I will do that. I actually forgot about that song. Maybe that can become my theme song.
What's that?
Banjo Paul says after the show, I need to go listen to Hey, Hey, Hey.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so then that's this Tuesday, and then on Saturday, we're gonna do. A lot of you have seen this, but this is the full production, the 𝐂𝐫𝐞𝐿 production that he did, and it's about 50 minutes long. It's the 1984 Elvis Presley, "The Echo Will Never Die." So
I've
a
never
lot of us
seen
have
that.
seen it on YouTube. You never seen it?
No.
Oh, you'll enjoy it. It's really good. A lot of people refer to that to just prove that Elvis wasn't racist, and they talked to Rufus Thomas, they talked to Sammy Davis, they talked to Reverend I can't even think of his name now, but some good cover, some really big support. So yesterday's Inside the Studio was number 20, Inherit the Wind, Mama Like the Roses, My Little Friend, Give Me the Right. That was a good one. And then we did a couple acapellas. So check it out on the replay. We had a lot of fun with that one. I'm just banging through these announcements real quick so we can get to the meat of the show. I got Leslie's going to come in here in a few minutes. So Rich's show, For the Record show, that's on every Saturday at 3:30. Live chat. The Blue Moon schedule on the radio. These are all these are regular. They don't change. The whole concert's shown every Friday, every Sunday at 4. I'm referring to Eastern Standard Time and all these in full. Then on Saturday, does it say Saturday? Yeah, Saturday at 4 p.m. The original official release of the '68 special, which is called the NBC special. Singer Presents, something like that. And it's got the original commercials and all that. If that's the one that he uploaded. Sundays at 11, he does his all gospel music hour. And Saturday at noon, he does little different clips towards a generous heart. And then on Friday, he does a live at 3 p.m. And I guess he's still going to keep doing with that. But he's got a new one starting this Thursday. Thursdays at 7 p.m. on the radio, Elvis Gospel World Tour. He's going to be basically all gospel, but it's live by request if you want. We're going to do both concert and live. So those are all in there, and then I did okay. I'm going to leave that there. So now Lori sent me a couple pictures here real quick just before we started. This is in Palm Springs. This is the star that's on the walk there in Palm Springs. So she took that's a good. I thought it came out really good. But I mean the picture. It was nice and clear.
Yeah, there we go. Val's right. The Reverend Herbert Brewster.
Thank you very much. Yep.
Our own resident living Google.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other star that's in Palm Springs was Colonel Tom Parker, which he lived there several years, 20, I don't know, something like 17 to 20 years, and of course he knew a lot of people, but he's got.
Hiya, Kirsty. Nice to see you. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. No problem. All right. So I think that covers all my news I wanted to do. What I want to do is here in a minute. Here, let me see. I gotta do something here. Hello.
Yeah, C-Cat's right. It's not Val anymore. It's Valugal.
All right. So Leslie's going to call in here in a second, and then I'll bring you in. We're going to talk about the event that's coming up in October. There's been some updates with it, so my total dismay and frustration. For some reason, we have a couple of people, and Leslie's one of them, that I cannot ever get them to be able to link into our show here. We've had people call in. We've had other people on here. We've had Priscilla. We've had. I didn't have any problem when I did the interview with Sally. So I don't know. It just and what it does is just says link timed out, can't connect. And I sent it to 𝐉𝐞𝐰𝐞𝐥𝐥𝐞𝐝, and they just said it's got to be the firewall settings. But she also tried it in data yesterday, and it wouldn't work off her cell phone. So I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, the only other suggestion I made to try it out is maybe we could get on a local Wi-Fi somewhere, but it's not her phone or anything like that. But a lot of routers have settings, so it just takes a matter of doing it. But I can't do it from this far away, so we'll find a way to get it on here one day. We'll do something else. So, all right. So I'm going to take this call. Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hey, okay, I'm going to group Cam in here so that I think. Well. Hey, Cam, call me.
Yeah.
Call me.
Okay.
I'll see if I can group you in that way.
Okay.
That way you guys can hear each other, and we don't have that, what we did last time, Lesley, where you couldn't hear him, and it was just, you guys were, it was just a difficult situation.
I just need to figure out how I'm going to do
shit. Never mind. Why, you can't get on it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, hang on. Maybe I can. Let me try it this way.
Let me get down to her screen here. Okay, well.
Okay, let me try it like this way.
Okay, so gonna let me group now. Now it's not gonna let me group. We did it once before, and I don't understand how we did it. But all right, so I'll talk.
There
to
we
you.
go.
Go.
I can hear you.
Okay, you're echoing anyways. I'll catch you later.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Lesley. All right, so how do you want to do this, Lesley? You want to just go ahead and start, and
I'll just say what I've got to say, and then
okay.
Yeah.
All righty.
Okay.
It's all yours.
Okie doke. Well, obviously, everybody knows that we have an event planned in October. But we've had some issues crop up over the last couple of weeks. Ticket sales are slow. I've spoken to other people that have organised events and have events coming up, and everybody's experiencing the same. But the problem that we have is we are a non-profit organisation. The other people are businesses. And with us, every penny that we raise from an event and the ticket sales, once the overheads are paid for, like venue, food and entertainment, the profits all go to charity. So we don't keep anything in the bank. We're a non-profit and everything goes to charity. Now, recently we found out that the balance for the venue and the food has to be paid 2 months before the event takes place, which 2 months before works out at the 15th of August, which is only 5 weeks away. And at the moment, we have a shortfall, meaning that we've not reached that amount to pay the balance yet. And that's equivalent of about 20 £45 tickets or 25 £35 tickets. So we're quite a bit short. And that's before we have to find a further £300 to pay the entertainment and the guests. And none of that takes into consideration any charitable donations, which is the whole point of having the event. So what I'm saying to everybody is, anybody who wants to come, can they please buy their tickets as soon as possible before the 15th of August? And what I've also done, I've opened up a Just Giving page, asking people if they would consider donating just to help us out for once. We don't ask for this. I can't think we've ever done this before. But, you know, that's what we need. We need some help, or else we won't be able to, basically, we won't be able to have the event. If you can't pay the balance, the event will be off and there'll be no charitable donation this year. And in all honesty, you know, the future of the 𝐶ircleG Foundation is sort of in your hands now, people, supporters. You know, I mean, thinking about it, if the owners don't get the fingers out and decide what they're going to do with the ranch, and we're enabled to get enough support to hold just one charity event every year, then we've got to ask ourselves, what's the point in the 𝐶ircleG Foundation? Which breaks my heart, but I've got to be realistic. You know, normally this time of year we're collecting for the floral tribute for Elvis Week. I'm afraid as things stand, we aren't doing that this year because we've got to concentrate on making this event happen. So if you usually donate to the flowers, please, just this once, consider donating to support the 𝐶ircleG Foundation instead. Now, if the event doesn't happen, any monies donated via the Just Giving or direct to us through PayPal will be given to charity. If we get enough, that will be divided between the two charities that we're planning to donate to if the event goes ahead. If not, it'll go to the Elvis Presley Charitable Foundation. You know, I'm to be honest with you, I'm on a real downer at the minute because we're not getting the support that we need. And I've done all I can. I'm advertising inside and outside the Elvis world, and I don't know what else I can do. So I'm just asking for help at the moment. So that's how it stands.
Okay. That where's that ad that where it talks about the donation, the giving? How'd you call it? What'd you call it? Giving.
The Just Giving page.
Yeah, Just Giving page.
If you go, if you scan that QR code that's on screen now, that will take you to the Just Giving page. It's also on our Facebook page and it's on our website.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. I see. So I just used that QR code.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know, but I mean, like I said, I can't do anything else. You know, I'm not going to get emotional. I could, but I'm just asking for help at the moment. So we'll just have to see how it goes by the 15th of August. I can't do anything else. So I don't mean to bring everybody down, but that's how it stands at the minute.
Yeah, so when on my Facebook group and then here I'll be I'll be a little more diligent, and you're going to see a lot more stuff come through. Actually, probably more than normal. Just trying to get a countdown done and get to this date and get what we need.
Yeah, I appreciate.
So I want to do a countdown.
You've done amazing, Rick. You know, I'm really, really appreciative of it.
Yeah. I know you are. But you know me too. And I take not from you, but I take everything. If I don't get things done or I get challenged with it, I've been remiss with some of it lately, and it's just, I don't make excuses, but I did have some challenges there, so I kind of get remiss. But I sit here and I think about I haven't been doing anything for it, and we're in a situation. So now I'm in a situation where I can move forward and do what I need to get done, and then we'll just do a countdown. Once I make a basic video or a post, then all I'm going to do is edit it each time instead of making a whole new one. Just update it. We got 6 weeks or 5 weeks, all the way down. 5
weeks. The problem is people look at the date of the event and say 18th and 19th of August, and they think, oh, that's a long way away.
October, you mean, right?
But like I said, we've got to pay that balance in 5 weeks' time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I physically can't do more than I'm doing. It's impossible.
Yeah, I'm gonna post what you see on the screen on my YouTube community page also, so that you guys can scan that or download the picture, share it if you don't belong to my Facebook group, Elvis-A-Z, then that's the only way I can know to get it to anybody that's not in any of those groups. Those of you who are part of the WhatsApp chat group that we have that I cleared yesterday, I will have this posted to everybody on there. So
like I've said in the newsletter that's gone out today.
Yeah, I'm going to show a few pages of it here.
In previous years, I personally, from my own pocket, have made up any shortfall. I am no longer in a position to do that, and I'm not prepared to put myself in debt to do it.
Yeah, you can't. Do that.
So in the past, I can't do it anymore. I've done it for a lot of years, and I cannot do it anymore.
Yeah, for those of you who are new to this or what we do here, there's a lot of history there. It goes back how many years? 15, 14?
15 years.
15
years
wow,
I've been doing this. Right.
Yeah, and
the last thing I want to do is to say, right, the Circle G Foundation is no more. But I've got to be realistic.
Yeah.
And if we can't meet the two things that are in our mission statement, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So like I always do on this channel, there's only I don't go any further than CGF, and of course, we've been really supporting Cam, and I don't do anybody else's for. I don't take any because I'm dedicated to both of them, and I just so what if you don't know much about it, ask me. I'll send you any information you need. There's a Facebook group, all that will tell you a lot of information of what's been done. And I always say $1 helps, $2 helps, whatever you can do. If not, share it. Share it.
With this Just Giving page, what I've done, I've actually put rewards there for donations of certain amounts,
right,
to try and encourage people. But I'll have to go in a minute because I'm actually getting to the end of my tether. I really am. I'm struggling at the minute.
I understand. It's I know it's personal, to you for what you've done. So I'm going to share a few things here after she gets out the phone. I'm going to show the new newsletter, and there'll be a link. I'll have it accessible if anybody wants it. I'll email it to them. Or what you need to do is let me get rid of this right here. If you see the top, circle the circle.
I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody wants to email me. It's not a problem.
Oh yeah, let me get to the comments. So any questions from anybody? Let's see. Valerie said, sorry to hear about that. 5 weeks will be 13th of July. No, June. Oh, that's right. You got a little bit more than 5 weeks.
Have I counted wrong?
Yeah, you've got more time. You've got more time. You've got almost.
Well, it's not. It's not much more time.
Yeah. It's almost a month's different time. The 5 weeks takes you to June 13th. I mean, July 13th from now. That's 5 weeks.
Right. Okay.
So
I've counted wrong. That's
no, well, it's
the sort of state I'm in at the minute.
Well, it's a good thing. And what's the date you got to have it in by?
August 15th.
Okay, you got exactly a month more.
Yeah, but I mean, it's pointless people saying, "Oh, well, we've got till the 15th of August."
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, at least it kind
I
of
know.
gives you a little bit of an extra breath to say, okay, now I do have 9 weeks. That gives us more of a campaign to keep going,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But like I said, that'll indicate me miscounting that is not like me. That's the sort of state I'm in at the minute.
I know. You're the everything's perfection with you, and and so I understand, but at least it wasn't say, oh man, it's 3 weeks or 2 weeks. At least we can have at least a little bit of an extra breath there. So
it'll soon be here. Let's put it that way.
oh yeah, I know. Let's see. Let me see if I got any more questions. Yeah, Deb says, 8 or 9 weeks. She said that before we started. Okay, so it doesn't seem like Natalie Kirsty says, "Oh, what a shame! I'm sorry to hear that, Lesley. Very disappointing noise." Yeah, if you guys could just share this or do whatever you can to bring it to the attention of other people that may not be on here, that don't belong, that don't join, that don't subscribe to me or have any part of me at all, and just share it with them, because if it's in the Elvis community, it doesn't matter really what channel it's coming from, in which it's a matter of who it is and where it's going. So,
like I said, the bottom line is, if we don't sort this, then the Circle G Foundation will be pointless.
We're going to work on. Cam and I are going to put something together. Maybe we'll put together a little. If you want, we got to get you fixed to get in here. We can. That didn't sound right, did it? We got to get you fixed.
Get me fixed. I need fixing. That's what I need at the minute. Desperately.
I don't do well on that. Maybe we could do a fundraiser one day, so a live one, or do something.
Okay.
But anyway, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you to the message.
Talk
later.
to you soon. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, so real quick, I want to just share a couple of things. So we got the. It's so that if you want to go, you only want to go one day, you can get a 1-day ticket for Saturday. And here's the newsletter. It's quarterly pretty much, and it just gives you information about the ranch, everything that's going on. I had a story in there, I think it was last month, of how I met Lisa Marie. I was in the last issue. So it's fun. And all you got to do is just email the thecirclegfoundation at gmail.com, and the link will be in below the description. And expect some videos this week coming out. I'm going to do some shorts, and I'll see. Anyway, Rich has got me laughing every time I say shorts. All right. So if anybody has any questions while we're doing this, this live stream, my mind's gone off somewhere else. Just put question. Now keep in mind, now we are taking suggestions for funny movie scenes so that we can do a poll. We've done our butt poll. We've done our, what was the other one? We've done a couple. Oh, we did the best kissing scene poll, right? Are you there, Cam?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So anyways, help us out with that and be a part of it. So next week we'll do our first round of it. Thanks a lot, Lesley, for coming on. I'll start working on something probably tomorrow, because I'm going to rest up tonight. And then Cam and I could talk about, maybe we could put something together between the two of us. Maybe we can make an interesting little video between us, the Blue Moon guys. I'll talk to you about it. Banjo Paul says, it's for Elvis and the charity, I would echo to give what we can, even if we don't go. Yeah, I bring that up. As everybody knows, nobody needs to, feel that they can't give enough. And when you donate, you can donate anonymously. And a lot of, we've had several do that, And so just however you can help, pass it around. Yeah, so Dylan's got the funniest movie scene is the word. Yeah, that's hilarious. Help, help. Nobody yells at once. All right, now what they got some good ones here. I'll get the text. I'll put the text up. We might have a good set to get a couple of weeks worth out of it. Yeah, there's some. Um, yeah, that's that's one of my favorites. Scene in that whole movie. Help! And anybody says he wasn't had a naturalness for comedy has never watched a movie of Elvis because he had the best sense of timing. All right, close second is applied judo chop to the back of the neck in GI Blues. All right, I'll pull these up. So let's move on here. We got a lot to because I want to get to the book. I do want to finish up the book. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. Let's go down to news and stuff. We got some news and stuff today. So everybody saw that. Well, oh, you know what? I did the news and stuff, didn't I? I forgot we started off with that. I'm doing real good. Let's hit some trivia real quick. I got 2 silhouettes, and I got 3 backwards songs. And I tried to get really funky with these. I tried to get some, but you know what? Playing them back, you guys are going to guess them pretty freaking quick. Yeah, those are good, Susan. The haunted house pranks. Yeah. All right. So first of all, this is a silhouette. Can you name that movie? Let's see what we got here. Let me get back to the comments. Let's see if anybody's paying attention. Class. How many people remember Cheech and Chong? back in the beginning days, the 60s and 70s. Dylan says girls, girls, girls. That would be a no. I'll give you a hint here in a minute.
I've got an idea,
You got an idea?
but I think I might be wrong.
Well, you got a 50-50 chance, so that's not bad. I'll take that and go to Vegas with that one. Let's see. Let's get a couple more. Nope, that would be a no. A banjo Paul. You guys are going to be, when you see it, you guys are going to go, oh, crap. That thing's showing again, isn't it?
I think it's Stay Away Joe.
You think it's Stay Away Joe?
Mm-hmm.
That cigarette. That. Oh, yeah. I remember Cheech and Chong. Yeah, Dave. Dave's not here.
I've never seen that.
Oh, they're freaking hilarious. They're all high on pot all the time. It's just hilarious. That first movie is the best. Stoner comedy at its finest. Yeah, so Cam's right. It is Stay Away Joe.
You know what gave what gave it away for me? The countryside in the background.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the answer is Stay Away Joe. Stay Away Joe. All right. So that's those 2. Let me get those turned off. Okay. We only got 2 silhouettes today. Then I got the backwards. So here is number 2 silhouette. I think somebody's going to get this pretty quick.
I know this one.
Brent, is he in the denim jacket? Yes, he is. Dylan, do you need a Valium? I'm just kidding with you, buddy. Quack, quack. Oops. Lily Thomas at what? Stay away, Brent. You're going to win them all. Laughing aloud. Good job, Brent. Okay. Any guesses on this one at all? What the hell did I do? I lost my comments. Here we are. Okay, so what do you think it is, Cam? Where the hell did it go?
I think it's change of habit.
You think that's change of habit?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else agree with him? We have nobody wanting to try this one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And the answer is...
Oh, come on. We were rigged, guys. We were rigged. We were scammed. I protest.
Oh,
That's
look at
not...
that. Look who got it. Dylan got it. Roustabout. Yeah, Dylan got that one. Yeah, I figured that one. I would have never gotten Stay Away Joe, but I would have gotten this one.
I protest. I protest. I protest. I protest.
I'll
We
mute
were
you.
scammed.
I'll mute you.
This is supposed to be Elvis ones.
I thought that was the back of her head in the shadow. That's funny, Kathleen. Yeah, so Dylan got that one. Yeah, the background gets it. That's my problem. I don't look at the background. I look at the silhouette, try to figure out the shape of the person. You know, I think, oh, let's see, who is that? That's Red West. It comes out to be a goat or something like that. All right, here we go. Backwards. I think somebody, it could be hard. I've had them where I thought they were going to be really easy. All right, guys, here we go. Any guesses?
Something about he's stumbling and he's sitting out.
I'm sitting at the backwards segment in all fairness. Okay. No,
Oh no! Come on, Brent. I was hoping to copy from your test paper.
Yeah. So you think you got it, Brent? Hi, Lily and Brent. Come on, guys. Any guesses?
No idea.
One more time, and then we'll give it. All right, here's the answer.
She sells seashells by the seashore, but I know
Queenie Wahine.
Okay.
Queenie Weenie. All right, last. We got two more here. This will be interesting because this, to me, I think this is the worst movie song he ever sang. That you right there. All right, let's see if we get a couple guesses. I know you know it, Brent, Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty easy. The worst song you ever sang in a movie, I think. That's just.
Yeah.
I can deal. I can let. Yeah, Deb got it. It is Old MacDonald.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm.
Yeah, Susan. Oh, yeah, it could have been Yoga as Yoga does. It's very similar. All right, last but not the least. Confidence was, confidence was bad too. I agree with you, Susan.
Susan Kirsty.
Oh, Kirsty. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, here is the last one.
Man, I made it.
We got silence. One more
I
time.
made it.
Dylan got it. Brent got it. Are they all movie songs? Actually, today was all movie songs. I probably would have been nice if I'd said that, wouldn't it? I'm not very nice. Okay, I don't want to get kicked off, but I got that. All right, Banjo. All right, so trivia is done for the day. We got a couple more things, then we'll try to finish off this book. Graceland, dumb fun and
Prepared. Hold on to your giblets. It's time for dumb fun and polls.
All right, that's enough of that one. All right, so here we go, guys. This is my slideshow that I use of great pictures and fake pictures. I put them all together in a nice, really cool, fancy, state-of-the-art slideshow. So here we go.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, how do you like that one? Real or fake?
Seriously? That's about as fake as you can get.
Elvis's final song looks like a private farewell frozen in time.
I mean, look at that suit, even. My
Charlie
God.
Hodge don't even. They got somebody that kind of looks like Charlie, but it kind of looks like Charlie and Sergeant Carter from Gomer Pyle. Fake. Anything coming up in the comments? Maybe I ought to put that over there.
Seriously?
Charlie Hodge, LOL. Yeah. Oh, I posted that AI crap today. Yeah, some of this I got today. A lot of it I had. They all passes around. So here's Elvis, the king who gave without a crown. He was the king of rock and roll. Whatever Presley's greatest legacy may be the kindness he showed to total strangers. Many times he would walk down the street and just start giving people freaking cars. That looks like almost like John Stamos dressed like Elvis.
Besides that, like, yeah, Elvis is gonna give some old guy a skadonk like that. I mean,
Look at
really?
the car. Looks like Columbo's car.
Yeah.
It really does. The hand. Look what Susan said. Hand is almost as big as his head.
Yeah.
I gotta do this.
One more thing before I forget.
Good old Columbo, man. Can't beat him. All right, what's next here? Now, I would almost say this was real to begin with, but first of all, look at his eyebrows. Look how bushy they are. And look at his hand, how it's kind of caved in there. But here's the thing. Elvis doesn't have, let me see if I can enlarge this, doesn't have any kind of a gap between his teeth. Look at his teeth, front teeth. Mm-hmm. They actually look like beaver teeth. But there's a gap in between and there's a space. His teeth are, they're, you guys know what I mean. Isn't that freaking terrible?
It looks like somebody took that scene from Dennis the Menace where he put the chiclets in Walter
Yeah.
in Walter Matthau's false teeth in the. But look at his hands too. It's like he's.
No, it looks like they kind of look like my hands when caved in, or when I wake up in the morning I can't move. Werewolf eyebrows, says Banjo Paul. Yeah, that's bad, you guys. This is really bad. So I got some good ones coming at. What? This shouldn't have been in there. Why did I put? Oh, it's because of what it says. Okay, what year do you think this is? What'd you guess? What time period? Let me enlarge the picture a little bit and take a good look at Elvis. My guess is the 60s.
Yeah.
What does everybody else think?
I'd say about 61, 62. Maybe at a push, even 64.
1970s. Elvis Presley quietly changed a young boy's life forever. The wheelchair looks like something from the they put veterans in at VA after World War II. Little tiny old, freaking ridiculous, huh? All right, I need to shrink this down. It's the only way I can read them or show you guys. So let's get to the next one here. Hey, Brent, Dylan, are you still here? What jumpsuit is that?
Yeah, I'd like to know that too.
Yeah. What's the name of that jumpsuit? Let's see if Dylan can tell us. I don't know if Dylan's still here. He may have gone.
Seriously.
Yeah, kids wore buzz cuts in the 70s. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't. How inept. It's unbelievable, huh? They can't even get a jumpsuit that looks anything. I would call that drapery. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you, Kirsty. Yeah. Okay, what's next? We're gonna get to some really good. Now I'm getting to these shots that I really like. These are just like cool shots of Elvis and performance, or just around it. Most of us have seen them, but I always have to stop and pause when I see a lot of these. So give me patient here with a second. I want to get it to where you guys can really see them good. So let me get over to the comments. Dylan, I guess Dylan's not around. So this is obviously from the 60s, the opening, 69 opening. I don't know what show it is or anything like that. We don't really, the scarf. Somebody out there, if you know what scarf he was wearing that night. I understood he was wearing a red stripe one, but I don't know. I've heard all different things. Ronnie Tut's drums look miniature, compared to what he had later.
Yeah, I was gonna say that drum kit don't look very comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like those those uh those toms look like they just about level with his kneecaps.
Yeah, and they're two different colors.
Yeah, that's possibly the drum set he used to audition, because he
Yeah,
said he used the old B-top set.
yeah. All right, next. I love that picture. That's just a
Yeah,
great picture. Now somebody's going to tell me it's fake. I do. I love that picture. I just, it's obviously. I think it's been touched up. Obviously, his skin looks way too smooth.
yeah.
I mean, he wasn't like he had bad complexion, but they go in and they brush things up, and it looks like like there's not a pore or anything on his skin.
Those headphones, man.
And I like this. I like this picture of him in the car like that. It's just a cool car. Seat covers. Look at the clear plastic seat covers. Those lips are true though. Yeah.
Those cars were like really big, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to. I can't tell what model and make that is.
You could
Yeah.
probably you could probably sit three adults in that seat quite comfortably, I would imagine.
Yeah. I would think he was probably thinking 3 females, but just kidding. And I've always loved this shot in Tupelo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Susan. That's a cool steering wheel. It's got chrome. It's chrome in the middle. And those steering wheels were so thin back then too. I'd like to find out. I had to throw that into Google image search and see if it'll get to be a bigger picture and see if we can find out what kind of car. Because I love that red. Or unless that's from the movie Loving. No, it's not. It's not the same car.
No.
I scratched that. I've always loved this shot of Tupelo, and I saw one where somebody colorized it, and it looked terrible. That's most of his '50s pictures, unless they were promo photo shots. What do you call them? Anyways, I thought they should all stay in black and white. I don't want my images. The '50s are black and white in my mind. I mean, they did because 3 of his movies in the '50s were all black and white, right? Loving You was the only one that was in color. It's 1960 outside Graceland, I believe. Oh, that one with the car? It's the gates. Yep, you can see the gates right behind him. He's pulling in because the gates open right there. You can't see my mouse, but that's yeah. Those kids, definitely 50s. I think this picture's got to be the 50s. I can't tell if what kind of sideburns he's got, but that's got to be a 50s picture. Look at the kids. It's hard to tell. Anyway, I love that. I love that picture. Thanks, Kirsty, for the info. I like your page. You put up some cool stuff. All right, so we got
Still,
that. And of course, it's now see his front teeth, no space. So and his eyebrows are a little bit thinner there. But anyway, anything from the rehearsals, just and I think this is from the rehearsals. Good shot, huh? Just
yeah,
like he's in thought about just I don't know heard a joke or getting ready to tell something. Of course that shot's always a great one for me. My 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 cell phone has the screen, the what do you call it? The desktop screen is from the peacock suit. Oh, we're back to where we began. Lovely, huh? Gotta love those idiots. All right, so that's pretty much that. Now I've got one more thing here. I've got this day somewhere. Where did I put this day? Did I put it there? Trivia. Do I have this day? What the hell did I put? Oh, you know what? I think it's in our main. Oh, come on, man. I can't have not uploaded it. Sorry, guys. It's a good one, too. I did that one. Shit. Sorry. I have a tendency to dumb fun. All right. Well, I guess not. I'll have to share it. It was the concert he performed this year in 1975. What's that, 50 years ago? And I could have sworn I uploaded them. No poll. There's no. I have no. All right, guys. I'm really sorry. I'm screwing around here. Here it is. Bingo. This day. All right. So on this day, 50 years ago. Can you guys see it? Can you see that? Cam, can you see that on there? This right here?
yeah.
Okay, so the afternoon show, Jackson, Mississippi, there were 12,000 people there. And he wore the Black Phoenix. These are some, I guess they didn't give me any, credits for who so I think these are just fan pictures. They're not like, and I know they're not Alverson, but there's some pretty good shots here, from fans. Black Phoenix.
I didn't care for the guys' blue stage suits. They look like doctors.
Yeah,
Was the wrong
I like the red and I like the white.
Yeah, that blue didn't. If it was a dark blue,
Yeah.
it might have looked better. But that powder blue sucked for me.
So the evening show, same place, another 12,000 people. He wore the Silver Phoenix. Now I liked this one of all the Phoenix ones. Oh, I forgot that they had orange. I don't like the orange blend. It clashes with the Fender.
Yeah.
He's over there with JD. Look, everybody's laughing or smiling at me. Something must have happened. Great shot. Look at the size of that belt, man. That was a cool story from Sam about the belt that melted on that last guitar.
He would obviously, those belts would probably, I would assume, scratch the hell out of the back of the guitar, right?
I would think so. I think the only given thing is they only use the guitar for usually just the first song. So I don't know. Yeah, unless they stuck something back there to protect it. But from what Sam said, they didn't. That last Gibson was worth $250,000. This is a good story.
Yeah, and he sold it for what, like
8,000.
1,300? 8,000.
He bought.
8,000.
Yeah, no. He bought it. Yeah, he sold it for 1,500. The other guy sold it for 8,000, and then that one wound up being 250,000. Another good shot. I love that guitar. That's just a great guitar.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one he threw into the crowd, and that guy caught it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever took
I,
these pictures, I think it's the same person for both shows, but I think they did a good job of pictures.
that I like Ronnie's. I like the chrome set that Ronnie was playing.
Yeah.
I like the blue set too, but that chrome set really popped.
Hey, David, is that silver box set concert for the tornado or something? That silver box set concert for the tornado or something. Well, I don't know what you're referring to. What are you referring to? One of the pictures? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not for sure what you mean, David. Yeah, I know. I put Beat Shack in the mind of Deb's mind. We have to discuss our favorite Columbo episodes someday, even though this is an Elvis channel. Yeah, I'll get on that discussion. I got some great ones. I can tell you right now, my favorite's the one with unbelievable. I can't think of his name. He played Mary Poppins with Julie Andrews. Somebody will tell
Oh,
me.
Dick Van Dyke.
Thank you, Dick Van Dyke. He played a photographer. I love that one. But it'll change tomorrow, more than likely. Let me see if David's answered. Was it Jackson? Yes, David. It was Jackson, Mississippi. Both shows. But whoever took them, man, I think they did a great job. Considering back then it was they may have had a 35 millimeter. All right, let's see what else I got here for this. I cleared that. We saw the stars in Palm Springs. The one and only Goof. Well, we know who that is.
Something corny. I know this is gonna sound corny, but what the hell?
What?
Johnny Cash always spoke about I'm going to Jackson.
Oh yeah,
Well, Elvis went to Jackson.
yeah. That was a good song. I'm going. That was a duet with his
Yeah.
his wife, I think it was. So, all right, guys. So that's that. Thank you very much for indulging. I need to get rid of that. And see, hi Brent, doing good. I'm just in from power washing my driver. Okay, cool. I might have getting stuck in some other people's, which I want you guys to do. Do what you want. I want to thank everybody too from yesterday for joining in with us with the chat. If you are just getting in here now, let me pop through this and we'll get to the book. I just want to review the schedule for next week. I'm having a tough time talking today. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's like
I think it's tired. I'm just exhausted.
I made the rocket fuel coffee and you got the effect.
Yeah, and I haven't. Well, I had my medication, but that doesn't do anything. So, all right. So, anyway, these are the movie watches that we're going to be doing. The watch parties every Tuesday at midnight, which is Wednesday morning, 12 a.m. The times are on this, and then when the notification goes out, I'll let you know. But this is going to be the same schedule every week. And this week we're doing part 2 of the BBC documentary, Cut Me and I Bleed. Yesterday we did an interview with one was I don't know, I guess a discussion with Sam Thompson about his years with Elvis. Really good one. So next week we're going to do the whole full official. There's a lot of piecework and all that of this on YouTube, but if you haven't seen it, this is a great chance to see it. It's 50 minutes long. It was presented by 𝐂𝐫𝐿. If you all remember 𝐂𝐫𝐿, he did the top 40 every week and was around for years. So we're doing that again next Saturday. I'm going to change the time on this because I think we're going to move that to 5:30, maybe 5:15, because we're stepping on Rich's toes a little bit at the end, and I don't want to do that. I want to, I don't want to interrupt his show. So, but that's going to be regular every week. We're going to do that. That kind of worked out good because we do our Inside the Studio earlier, which is, where am I going to take that? Inside the Studio every Saturday, 2 o'clock, premiere. And you can catch it on the replay if not. And this was yesterday's episode. Inherit the Wind, Mama Like the Roses, My Little Friend, Give Me the Right, and a couple songs in a cappella. It was a lot of fun. We had a blast. And I think that's it. If you want to join our chat group, we're up to 15 people. And, we had a kind of a lively conversation yesterday, but I think, that was, I deleted that conversation just because of how it wound up. But I want to start talking, starting chats, Elvis chats with them, just, everybody share whenever they can share. And then I'm going to also post the notifications every week of what we're, going to be doing each day. Or it could be last minute things. It could be, Rich and I and Cam might just say, hey, let's do a midnight, just BS, chat. Anything goes. Tracy didn't catch last night's live, but watched on replay. What'd you think, Tracy? Oh, I mentioned you too on the Inside the Studio. So, because you had the suggestion about giving some information, like from writing for the King. Now, I'm going to probably start using that a little more when it comes applicable. But yesterday, I shared some information about American Sound. It was we probably spent about 5 or 6 minutes on it. So really good information. Rick, can I request Down in the Alley for Inside the Studio? You definitely can. I will. You just put the request in because I print the chat if I need to. And also, Tracy, if you'll take a look at the new poll. Yeah, right here. Right there where Rich is usually at. We're going to start another poll like we kind of similar like what we did with, the favorite kissing scenes. And then we did the butt poll. And so I want to do the funniest scenes. So if you got one you want to submit, just put it in the chat and I'll pull them out and we'll just play little clips of them so I don't get kicked off. All right, Kathleen, have fun. Valerie, also like the episode. Now you see him with a magician. Oh. Oh, they're still talking about Columbo. Yeah. All right, guys, let's get to the book. I think some of you might be hanging around for the book, and we're going to finish it off today, and we'll start the next one. We'll see what everybody put in your notes. I'm sure everybody wants to continue with Careless Love. I want to get more Colonel books in there. So maybe next week we'll do one book of the Colonel, and we'll get back to Careless Love because I want to do as many as I can before Peter Gronick's new book. And we played the Peter Gronick's interview yesterday with Tom Brown. It was really good. It was nice to see him. So hey, no guys, talk. Go ahead. That's fine. I'm sure you're listening in, so you can pop in whenever you want. So last train. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty. He's going in the Army, and I need to enlarge this because it's really kind of small. And I can't do it that way either, can I? I know how I can do it. And if you guys want to call in there's the numbers going across the top. I'll do it this way. All right, so
I got to pop out for a second. I'll be back.
Okay. So we're covering the time period when he joins the Army. And we know this is a kind of a difficult time because he gets in the Army. That's So when he arrived at Graceland at 6:30 on Friday night, March 14th, the questions were all about his new movie and the Army. How did his parents feel about his going in? Well, my mother hates to see her son go in service, he said candidly, but added, my mother is no different from millions of other mothers who hated to see their sons go, though. I would probably differ, not agree with that completely. It was quite a challenge for me because it was written for a more experienced actor, he said. It was, he felt, without false modesty, his best performance to date, one in which he had acquitted himself well and truly distinguished company. So, obviously he's talking about King Creole because they got a deferment before he was go. So we'll talk a little bit about that here. He took the train back to Hollywood, and Hal Wallace threw a breakup party at the studio commissary. He wasn't worried about the Army. Elvis told columnist Vernon Scott, who was president, it couldn't be any worse than the merry-go-round he'd been on for the past 2 weeks, and he certainly knew what hard work was. So the reason why I highlighted this, I didn't mean to highlight the whole thing, but we're sitting here now. We're he's getting ready to go in the Army. What? Share with me what you think his thoughts are. What's going through his head? I just know from some of the interviews and the comments I've seen that he didn't know whether he would have a career, whether rock and roll would be history. You got to remember, rock and roll was only in infancy. It's 4 or 5 years old, where to be established where it was at with Elvis. I mean, what do you all think? Funny how several of us. Jeez. So, let me know what you think. I mean, Shelley Fabre and Marilyn Mason were on Mannix. We're going to have a Columbo conversation here. Let me read a little bit more here. So just to get everyone in the spirit of his usual pull out all stops promotion campaign, the Colonel had a big bunch of balloons made up with King Corell written on them, and he led Trude Forsher, the William Morris agent, and everyone else he could commandeer around the lot carrying the balloons before marching into the commissary and releasing them to the ceiling. Elvis posed for pictures, showed off the prop Civil War blunderbuss that he had been given as a gift, and ate. I bet he loved that one. And ate a little bit of cake decorated with a figure of an Army private peeling potatoes. That just had to put coal on the fire, I think. Let me do this. I don't know if I'm going to... Oh, wait a minute. Poll. Nah. I guess... nobody's interested in the book. Tracy, oh yeah, suggestion for a watch-along. How about Goranic's interview with Conan and Brian? He talks quite a bit about... I'll look that up. Yeah, Tracy, that's a good suggestion. I'll look that up. I need to look up more interviews with him, especially with the new book coming out. The interview yesterday with Tom Brown, he talked more about Careless Love than he did the Last Train to Memphis. More book. He was off to Memphis with less than 2 weeks until his formal induction. He was so impatient to get home that once again he got off the train instead, this time renting a fleet of Cadillacs in Dallas. He was met by... Oh, that was all I wanted to get on there. So I know that when he would get home, he would usually catch the train and he'd walk the rest of the way home. Elvis would have been awesome for Swan Song. Johnny did it. Yeah, here's Carolyn Jones's observation of Elvis. He was always asking a lot of questions. God, he was so young. I didn't think anybody could be that young. He was always talking about his folks and about the house he just bought them. Jones suggested that in order to really learn his craft, he should consider taking acting lessons, and the guys picked up one of her lines in the film, "Take a day out of your life and love me," as a kind of sardonic commentary, so be trotted out on a number of occasions in a wide variety of social settings. That was kind of an interesting pairing between... She did great in the movie. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I like Carolyn Jones. Morticia Adams. Okay, Rick, no more. No, you guys can talk. If you don't want to do any of the book today, that's fine. This is for us to have fun. I mean, it's just a social event as far as I'm concerned. We'll still talk about Elvis, and then you guys can pop in your comments when you want. I do want to complete this book today, and I'll just, we've pretty much covered the whole book anyways. And we're getting to the point when he goes in the Army, then the last chapters the passing of his mother. Atlanta Nash went that route at Elvis. What he says? Yeah, you're right. Atlanta Nash did. She just, the one book I have read, I've got 3 of them. I've got this one right here that I've been debating, and you guys, I want you guys to say yay or no, because I don't want to bring anything here that's really, I will never, ever have Elvis What Happened on here. Now, in turn, since Priscilla's releasing a new book, we've talked about this. I'm going to buy that book. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read Elvis and Me. And I think I got it. Yeah, I got it. And I haven't read it since, well, that's a different copy. But I haven't read it since I bought it. Since it came out. Anyway, I want to compare the two and see what kind of contradictions she has. How many people think out there that there's going to be some contradictions? Lori, she's reading the book. It's skipping by pretty fast. I love the book. I love reading. I love the Kindle and the audiobook when I can listen to the audiobook and here in the Kindle where it goes to do the little jumping ball across. Not really. It just highlights the section. There's a reason why Gronach's books are considered the Bible, and Elvis totally agree on how factual he writes. He really talks about how long. It was 5 years before he even got the book. I think it was 5 years before he released. I'll tell you right now, I got them both right here. Before he released Careless Love after, and I think that's what he said yesterday. For those of you who are here, but let me take a look. I'm going to have a big bunch of books. Books written from the heart is one thing, but if it's for money, grab. Yeah. Obviously, that's Peter Gronach's career, but he has such passion in what he writes. He's got the story of Sun Records, unbelievable. 1994 was when Last Train came out, and then Careless Love 5 years later. Took him 5 years to get the second part of this set. And I remember waiting because I heard that was coming out. I'm thinking, gee, when is it coming out? Then, it's like always, you get to the point where you forget all about it, and all of a sudden it's out. Yeah, Tracy, you're right. That one I did. Watch it on a replay if you'd like. But this book right here, I'm debating whether to really have a discussion. I'm not going to do like we do the other books. I want to just kind of take it, grab it, and do some highlights. But it's Atlanta Nash's Revelations for the Memphis Mafia. And I've read part of it. I didn't read the whole thing. It's got some interesting stuff. I don't believe half the shit she writes. I think she's like Steve Dunleavy. And for those of you who don't know who he is, he was really popular with the National Enquirer, but he was a trash writer. He wrote some, wow, we lost Cam. I wonder, hope he's all right. They probably said, what the fuck, then embraced it. What's it? Books written. I had to take notes so I wouldn't forget anything in the book. There's so much info to absorb. You're right. That's what they talked about too yesterday. Said, Tom said, you got so much information in the book, nobody can really grasp it one time through. And he says, well, yeah. He says, people want to go, if they got everything there, then they can take into mind what they hear. Then they can come back and I read stuff here. I've read that book a couple times before. And when I was going through it this time, I don't remember that being there, that part. But, you guys like my new pen? You got me a new pen. Fits in my hand. I don't drop them as much. I don't know if it freaking writes. But anyway, so let's take a couple little points here. We got on Tuesday, December 24th, Elvis wrote to the draft board explaining that as far as he was concerned, he was ready to enter the Army immediately, but he was requesting the deferment for Paramount so those folks will not lose so much money. Of course, we all know he got the deferment. That following Monday, the draft board received a letter from Paramount studio head requesting a 60-day deferment. They'd already spent $300,000 to $350,000. That's got to be a couple million by now. in this time. His draft situation was really bugging him. Stoker said he still, he's telling us right there what I said a little bit earlier. He still couldn't understand why the colonel hadn't fixed things better, but he didn't say much about it. And at the Opry that night, he just walked out on stage and waved and visited with his old friends. Yeah, he didn't want to go, did he? What do we got here? Nash is in the same league as Dunn. Yep. Squirrels into the salacious and demeaning stories. That's why Lisa hated the Memphis Mafia for selling their stories, and I don't blame her. Yeah, I agree. If I was listening now, thank you very much. I just love these two books, and I think it's going to be interesting when we go through these Colonel books. What we learn about it, I want it to be a positive thing. I'm sure we'll get really a lot of discussion about the Colonel, which is good. And we're going to always come across negative stuff, and that's a fact of life. We can't do anything about it. It's happened, And what's been written about this stuff, you never get rid of it. It's going to be there forever. So I don't even worry about it. And I read some of it. If I start, it's like the Elvis What Happened. I bought it when it first came out. I was 19 years old. And I just read it because I was curious. I didn't have that perspective of what it was saying. And I just thought, and there's some of the stuff I didn't believe, but I was more impressionable then. And I was just thinking, damn, it really did affect my thoughts about Elvis. Yeah, wow, Red Western and Sonny and Dave, they knew Elvis. They got to be telling the truth. Why would they release the book? And, Steve Dunleavy was pretty popular on National Choir. And but my impression was, he's connected. And then, I don't know, maybe 15 years later, I picked it up and read it again. And I didn't get through the second chapter. I kept the book. It's the paperback. I don't think they ever released it in a hard copy, as a matter of fact. That shows you how cheap it was. If anybody could tell me if I'm wrong, but I do not think Elvis What Happened was ever released hardback. Susan, I'm sure. Also the video, All the King's Men, they sold them out for shekels. Yeah, I got those. I got All the King's Men on video. I don't know. I doubt I'll ever do that on a watch party. But it also opens up discussion. But I would have to monitor it pretty well because I don't want it to go off in the deep end. But we all have the same feeling about some of the negative stuff, and sometimes I just don't want to get it's like with Billy Smith. I know he said some things over the years, but I don't. I still think of him as who he is, and being there when he passed. It's going to be hard. But some of the other people, I tried to just stay on the fence and not talk about it, but sometimes we got to talk about it. I also read Elvis, What Happened, just to know Elvis died 15 days after the book was released. Yeah. I saw him 8 months before he died in Atlanta, December 30th. And he had lost a bunch of weight, and he was looking good, and he gave an hour-and-a-half show almost, and it was great. It was a good show. I'd seen him twice before. I always got lucky in the shows I saw. It was great shows. But anyway, after that, he knew about the book coming out. And after that, my dad picked up one of those rag magazines that you used to get when you walk through the grocery store, and they have all those National Choir, the one with Elvis in the coffin, all that trash stuff. Elvis got a woman pregnant. She's having sextuplets or 7 babies. Little Elvis is running around. Stupid shit like that. Or Elvis's grandchild is actually 50% alien. Anyway, my dad picked that up, and I read it, and it did have a little thing about it. What do they call it? I forget how they worded it, but just about it's going to blow everybody's impression about Elvis out of the water because of what was written. Elvis knew a lot about what was in the book, and I'm sure he was pissed. But they said it also motivated him to at least lose some weight, and he did. But that's a lot. That's a lot to have to deal with. When you've done things. What did he do to these? What did he do to them? they got fired. Well, why'd they get fired? Then was there a good reason to fire him? I think so. I heard that there was some stuff where they had lawsuits threatened against them because they were real rough and tumble on a few people, and Elvis didn't like that. And they were just going to leave a bad name for him. And Sonny and Dave and Red, they did to me the ultimate sin. But now I step back too. Listening to the comments that Dave Hebler made in that interview last year, I don't really trust everything he says. But just some of the comments I read of some other people that were kind of close in the circle was that a lot of things were sensationalized by Steve Dunleavy. And from what I understand, when they signed to get to be part of this book, they signed their whatever they said to be published, and they didn't have editing rights. In other words, last review. Which, if you're doing a book like that and you're telling a story, you should have the right. And Brent's done some authoring, so he'll probably say something. Let me know. But if you're authoring a book, having a ghostwriter write the book or somebody write a book for you, and it's about your life or people around you, you damn well bet I'm going to want to have the last go for it on any book like that. What do you guys think? But I don't think they did. If I'm wrong, let me know. Tracy, they were warned repeatedly to keep their behavior towards fans. Yeah. But how do you in my life, I've been fired twice. One was just political. The other one was I was stupid, I did something stupid and it cost the money company and it wasn't one of those things like it was a warning. It just cost too much money and it was just pure ignorance on my part and the role I had. So I got fired, but I found a job within a couple of weeks. But I didn't blame them. I was upset with the company that fired me for political reasons. But if I have to work for a company that plays politics, and you guys know I don't discuss politics here, then I'm out of it. I would have been looking for another job anyways. Debs, it was awful for us. Imagine poor Elvis. Yeah, I remember sitting out on my front porch reading that book and just getting up and walking in and saying to my wife, I won't believe the shit they're writing. They said about Elvis. And I called my dad. My dad didn't want to read it. Next thing I know, I got it finished. I was telling him little tidbits. He says, leave me the book. And he read it. And he said, I don't believe 90% of this. He says, it's all. And then when he saw Steve Dunleavy, we knew. It's just like with Alana Nash. She's. And have you ever seen an interview of her? Oh, Cam, you're back. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't see. Chime in here. We're just talking about, we're pretty much finished with the book, and we're just talking about now we're talking about books and what we're going to do next and all that, and which obviously you can hear. But I saw an interview with her. Actually, she's been in several different clips of documentaries where they talk to her. Just watch her. Watch her eyes and watch her attitude. She's got a very arrogant, self-entitled type of attitude. I wrote these books about Elvis, and I made money off them, and I know freaking everything. And I don't like people like that. Now, take Peter Guralnick, who wrote better books, has written a lot more books than her, from what I understand. He was humble. He wasn't. There was no arrogance about him at all. He just talked about the research. He started with Scotty and all these, and and it was just a great way to, and same thing with Sam Thompson. He was just, pleasant. But her being around Elvis opened so many doors for them, especially in Hollywood. Red was pretty successful, and Sonny became a bodyguard for other musicians, all due to working for Elvis. I think Jerry Schilling made the best move by leaving.
Yeah.
And going to Hollywood, because I think he saw. I'm sure he never. He's the nice thing about him is he hasn't never really done that, stuff. But go ahead, Cam. I'm sorry.
My opinion on it is I think the difference between people like Peter Guralnick and all the rest is uh, guys like Peter and Jerry and Charlie. Their motivation for writing a book was to share Elvis as they knew him.
Yeah.
On the other end of the fence, people like Steve Dunleavy, Alana Nash, etc., etc., etc. It was nothing to do with sharing Elvis. It was about making a quick buck.
Yeah.
And
Valerie, that's a good point. Go ahead, Cam.
they said whatever they needed to say to make sure that they got the most out of it.
Yeah. Valerie's got a good point there. Let me put it up there. Jesus, I need to get okay. So she says, my opinion is they wrote the books, final say or not. I don't fault the fans for discussing it. And I'm going to be honest here because I'm not going to really waver off here, but given that there's so much negativity when they review books, like Alana Nash or Priscilla books or whatever, when some of these other channels do it, it's so freaking hateful and it's nasty. But I do believe this group right here that we have, that if we brought a book, just say we, well, actually, we're going to have a good example. I'm going to buy Priscilla's book. I'm going to read the other one, and we're going to have a discussion. And then when we're through, if somebody wants the book, I'll just do a giveaway. If not, I'll just keep it on the shelf and give it sometime down the line. And I think we can all have a mature conversation without and have disagreements or differences of opinion, and hold it true. I mean, hold it to a respectful way, and just say, I don't like that. I didn't like that part of his life. How much did it affect Elvis? Once again, we're talking about I keep saying this, but I think it's a good analogy. We're discussing the DNA of Elvis's career, his life. It's his career, and some of it humanity, and some of it personally too. But some of these things that were done while he was alive, we may not know how it affected him deep down inside, but I think we all can have a good conversation and come to probably a consensus of what he thought and went through. Because you guys know that I sit here and I always try to get into their psyche. I'm weird. I sit there. Well, what I do is I sit back and I'm like, let's see, don't have it, do I? Never mind. I don't have the, oh yeah, here we go. Here you go, Val. Oh, sorry, dumbass. That's the wrong one. All right. Side note. Sorry, I'm gonna get distracted. Name that movie this theme is from. Name that movie. You guys will be interested in that. So anyway,
Brent's got a good point.
Oh yeah, let me get the comments so I can pop those up there. Susan. Let's not forget, Elvis wasn't just paying them for the service; he's also expecting respect and discretion to be part of it. Yes, and that should actually be unsaid. To them, there shouldn't be and you're not going to do this and this. If you violate my my privacy or me, you're gone. He never had to say that, because these guys should have known that their life, they were dumb for not doing like things like Jerry did. Jerry got had a different career that he can fall back on. Marty Lacker, his same thing with the studios, but the rest of them, Charlie went. As much as I love Charlie and everything, he just did the little tour circuit playing. It was great. It was perfect for him. Everybody, but Red West had his career, but he fucked up his relationship with Elvis. The one person that I would have really thought would never, ever, no matter what, go against Elvis. Susan, in that Baby Let's Play House, Val, she was so obsessed with Elvis and his sex. Yes, that's the book I read too. Yes, she just, She's just freaking weird, man. I bet you she's got a S&M dungeon. I'm gonna get sued for that now. So that's a pretty good discussion right there. So next week, I want to put it in the chat. I know what I'd like to do, but we can always come back to Careless Love. But we got a theme going here that we need to get before Gronic's book comes out. And Priscilla's on there. So, do you want us to start the Careless Love next week, or hold that off for about a month, and then we get into we finish off? It'll probably be one book each weekend. I'm not going to go in as depth as this. Get back and do about 3 or 4 books on the Colonel before Peter Gronic's comes out, and then we'll review that, and then we'll get back to Careless Love. You guys tell me what you want to do. And if nobody, if y'all just don't care, just you want to keep going, we're going to do some during the week too. So I think the book discussions and the watch parties have turned out to be a pretty good time for discussing. And I wanted open discussion. If we get onto a conversation about Colombo and all that, it's perfect. I just laughing because I'm the one that introduced it and started. I said, look what I've started now, but it's perfect. We're all smart enough to be able to do things. We can walk and chew gum. Susan thinks Careless Love is good. So that's one vote for that. Yeah, let's do that. And what I'll do is, instead of getting as in depth, let's do an overview of it, because I want you guys to get the book and read it if you can. I can't sit here and read the book because, first of all, it'll take forever, but second of all, I'll get hit with slammed with a copyright. I can do what I'm doing. I can read highlights and talk about it. But so we'll yeah, okay, Tracy. Careless Love. We got 2 for Careless. That's what we'll do. We'll
3.
You too? Yeah, it makes sense. And then we'll just do the Colonel during the week. We're going to do a book someday this week, and we're going to try to finalize that one. Each week, we're going to try to add some new feature that Cam and I do, and Rich will probably be popping in some of them. He should be back next Sunday with us on the on this forum, and hopefully some of the watch parties. Right, Rich, we can have civil discussions. Who's Rich? Right, Rich? Oh, Rick. Yeah, I can't remember outside of just I could probably name. I've been doing the live stuff for a little over a year and a half maybe, when I started doing lives. And during that whole time, and I'm going to leave out one particular group, but over that time, I could probably say maybe 3 people I had to block. But then I unblocked them later. But I took them off for a little bit because it was just nasty discussions. We all have a right to have our own opinions, and I like sharing them. And Cam and I talk about things, and we have different opinions. And sometimes he's right, and then sometimes I'm right. And it's just, and we were able to have a discussion, and we either agree to disagree, or I say, yeah, you know what, you're right, Cam. And there's been a couple times like that, Cam, right? Where you're right. And I never thought about it that way. And that's what I find fun. I actually find that fun. Just I enjoy. Enjoy is not the word. I respect when I find out that I'm wrong. I respect the fact that it's been brought to my attention. And I respect the person that brings it to my attention, or book, or movie, or whatever. I don't get upset about it. What's the point in demanding you're right? I will say that I'm right until I'm proven. Somebody's got the receipts for it. And 90% of the time, somebody's got them. Here they are. Look at that's it right there, Rick. Take a look. Read it and weep. You okay, Cam?
Yeah.
Oh, you're reading the comments. Yeah, we're getting some good comments here. Val, don't get me wrong. In some of those books, I would not want to read. Not interested in Elvis. Yeah, what shit happened? Or Baby, Let's Play House. No, I won't do those. The one I do want to do Atlanta's Memphis Mafia, and that's just I don't know. If it gets to the point where it's just I'm shaking my head and nobody wants to hear it, then I'll turn it. You guys tell me. It's up to you. But I would like to start that book. What's the other book by her? We're not going to do Baby Let's Play House by her. I'm not going to do it. But there's another book. Oh, there's one about the Colonel. Now I do want to do that one. I want to find everywhere where she's freaking wrong, or at least try to. Susan, it is sad and starts out with Gladys's death, but it's important history, and we know more about what he went through. What book is that? Yeah,
Careless love.
yeah, it is. It's a sad time, and it's just, yeah, like she said, it starts off with Gladys's death, and then it ends up with his death, and it's everything in between, and damn, I would really love to be able to just have give me 5 minutes of your life, Peter, just once. Come on the show for 5 minutes and just let us ask a few questions. That would be great. Another good
You
book.
know,
You know what? I think I've got that. I'll check that. That's a good book. All about how important television was to Elvis's success. Elvis was so nice he didn't make them sign NDAs. He trusted it. There you go. Most people do that, especially today. Especially today. Everybody's about look at P. Diddy, man. You know, unbelievable. Doesn't surprise me because he used to be here in Atlanta, and I worked at the Swiss Hotel at the time, and I never saw him or met him, but he used to really cause a lot of problems with parties at the hotel when he came by. Never heard of that one, Tracy. I think I'm pretty sure I've got it. I got one that's called Being Elvis. I'll double check. I think I got it. And it'd be fun to do, Jerry Schilling's book and Linda Thompson's book. We could do those in a quick, 1 day book review. Joe Esposito's got a few books. Not all of them are Gene Smith's book. Elvis's Man Friday. That'd be cool to read. Get away from some of the bad stuff, but I still want to have those discussions, and I feel comfortable with this group to do that. Val, let me get this so I can put it. I think the worst thing for me that crossed the lines was when they put a pair of Elvis's underwear up. I saw that. Yeah, that was about a year or so ago? Wasn't that about a year ago? On a couple of years ago on that auction from that cruise auctions that there's a lawsuit with somebody. I don't know, EPE, I think. Gene Smith is so hard to find, unfortunately. Well, I've got it in hard copy, and I might have it on PDF. So, but we'll do. It's a short book. We do a nice quick review with it, and I'll scan the pages, highlights, or we'll talk through like I do with these. Channeling Elvis, Alan J. Weiner. Let me see. Hold on a second. I got all my books. I don't know if I have the hard copy of that, but I do believe. Where's the Elvis book? Elvis books. Channeling. Nope, I don't have channeling. Not in PDF, but I'll check. I got so many books on Kindle, audiobooks. Cool if you have it on PDF, Rick. I'll find it. I'm sure I'll find it. I have a little bit of a source sometimes where I do trades with them, and I'll send you this PDF if you send me this one or whatever. So I don't want to become a person that starts giving things away. I don't mind giving them away. Put it that way. I just don't want anybody to say, "Oh, you're making money off of it," and. But anybody that if I got it, I'll be more than happy to share with people. Maybe I'll email you a page a day. That's freaking Rick, man. Put it in real tiny print. Just kidding. Yeah, Tracy, I'll check that out. I might be able to find that. You know what? You guys hang there. I'll go to one site here real quick. Yeah, I go to sometimes. All right, come on. Jesus. Why is the internet slow? Oh, I bet you their site's down. Okay, close that. All right, well, we'll see if it opens up. All right, Marion. Yeah, that's a good book. Yeah, I got that on PDF. Marion Cox's book is a sweet. But we're going to be doing at least 2 days a week, counting what we do here on books, and then we're going to in about a week or two. Like I said, we're going to introduce a new feature from Cam and I mainly, but we're going to hopefully get Rich involved with us. He's got to he takes care of his mom, so his schedule doesn't work as well as ours does because Cam and I can really, Cam lives off my time and I live off his time, so we don't. When I sit here and say it's 3 o'clock, I got to remember it's 9 o'clock there. So you agree, Cam? Careless Love. We start that next week, and he just freaking disappeared. He melded into Elvis. Or did you go to sleep? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I just saw you disappear. All right, I'll check that channeling Elvis. They're not one to pull. Oh Jesus, they're slow. Okay, let's see if I can try this real quick. All text. No, they're channels. Come on. I'm gonna do one. No, I'm not. That's weird. It's got to be that site. Too much rich coffee for Cam. Funniest scene. How about the shower scene? Yep, that's a good one. I think we've gotten about 10 scenes, haven't we? Suggestions? You got one, Cam?
Funniest one?
Funniest scene of any of in Elvis movies.
I
And
gave mine.
you can do Elvis on tour. You can do That's the Way It Is.
Yeah, mine one. This Elvis on tour outtake.
Yeah, from in the car when they're leaving.
Yeah.
How'd the launch go? How was your
I don't
launch?
know.
How was your launch?
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to repeat it. It's a great. We'll play it. Tracy, yes. Funniest scene. How about this? Yeah, that's a great scene. What do you say? Something about getting toffee, buttered coffee, or something like that? Oh God, when I say that.
I can't imagine that. That's nice.
Yeah. Well,
No.
guys, this has been fun. We're gonna do like we did yesterday on the watch party where we said we kept saying, "All right, we're gonna go," and it's just like another 10 minutes goes by, another 15 minutes go by, and it's fun. We're here for you. We want you to have chats and have good, positive chats. We talked about that yesterday. So, Deb, when he falls off his stool during rehearsals, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll add all
Yeah,
those.
that's another one.
And what I'll do is I'll pick 4 each week, and then
Oh,
we'll do it 3 weeks in a row, and then we'll see which one's the best. Let you all vote for him. Elvis on tour when Elvis picks up the underwear that was starting. Are these yours, honey? Yeah, that's
and
that.
then another one too that springs to mind.
Yeah.
Thanks to Deb is when he's rehearsing that. That's all right, Mama,
Uh huh.
and the microphone topples over,
Yeah. How about
and
the one where he gets shocked?
it's amazing where that they all knew the moment that Mike went south.
Yeah.
They all knew where his mind was at. Cause,
Yeah.
cause Jerry was the first one that started laughing.
Yeah. Well, there's another scene in Tickle Me when he's walking in there with all of his gear and all the girls are exercising. He trips and tumbles all over the furniture, the patio furniture.
Oh yeah.
It's a hilarious scene. You know, it's some good scenery there too, if I say so myself. A lot of butt shots, and we got to do a butt pull from the women. Nah, that's not going to go over well on this. I think we might get some. We might get some. What do you call it? Resistance?
Yeah.
Susan, how about when he's holding the mic and gives the finger behind it? Not sure who he was pointing it at. No telling. Yeah, yes, and when he fell after playing the piano, right? How the web. And when he got shocked by the mic sitting there on the stool and he popped. Oh, those fuckers hurt, man.
And those things pop. They pop you. When they bite you, they bite you hard.
That's the way it is. Yeah, right, Ken. when the girl fan is crying and saying "I love you," and Elvis looks a bit embarrassed. LOL. Yeah, there's no doubt he had a great sense of humor. Well, guys, let's see what else so we settled on the book, Careless Love. I hope we start picking up a few more people. We're getting good replays on it too. I know the time is hard for anybody to be able to do both of them, so that's why we're doing them at different times to try to give everybody opportunity at a watch party. Then the ones that you can't go to, they're up there for replay. So and then we're just going to work on our radio schedule. We'll have a couple shows on the radio, and then we're pretty much set for. We'll have a schedule like Elvis at the International Hotel, 2 shows a week, 2 shows a night. Jesus, he had some. Well, I'm twice what he was then too. I'm twice 67. I'm twice his age when he was there. But when I was that age, I was very active. I had a lot of pent up energy until my mother-in-law zapped it out of me. She had that wand that had a little electricity come flying out. She was a witch. She is a witch. She's terrible. Anyway, I'm gonna need a sleeping pill after this. Love when he says to her about "Don't cry, baby." Something. Oh yeah, that one girl. Yeah, that's a great one. She said, "Oh," it grabs her. "Oh, I love you." Yeah, you're right. That's the scene. I couldn't remember what scene you were talking about. And then the other one, he says that one lady, "You want to get serious?" And she goes, "Yeah."
Yeah, do you want to get serious or just play a little?
Yeah. Val, her name was Pamela Stone. She loved Elvis. Her parents paid a lot of money to have her in the front row. She died young, listening to Elvis on her deathbed. Oh, that's sad. At that, so when that show happened, she looked like she was probably, what would you say, guys? 16, maybe? Maybe 16 years old. She looked like around that age. She didn't look real old, but she wasn't like 13 or 14. She was up in her upper teens at least. So, she would be today, we're talking about, she'd be in her 70s. I saw him when I was 14, so yeah, she would probably be about in her almost 70 when I saw him there at the International, the first show in 1972. I think I've seen pictures of Pamela Stone later, maybe. I saw the pictures of that one lady that when he was walking through the audience and he grabs her face and kisses her. Yes, I've seen she passed away not too long ago. The girl in the blue dress, I think she was 14. She passed away when she was 61. That wasn't long ago then. That's sad. That's really sad.
I'm gonna throw this out on the fence. I know this is way off topic maybe, but I'm curious. I'm curious even so. I'm sure not all the women that approached the stage were really how can I put this eloquently?
Attractive?
Yes. I'm sure I'm sure there must have been a couple of less than desirable when it came to their ranking on their Kiss a fan list.
Well,
I wonder
there's...
if
Go
I
ahead.
wonder if Elvis was ever in that situation where he was faced with 6 or 7 of them, and he was thinking to himself, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm gonna do this. I have to do
Well,
this."
there's that one scene. Of course, it's cutouts in the outtakes of him backstage, and he's there talking. He talks about the one girl from the night before, and one of them says, "You mean that real ugly one?" He goes, "Man, she gave the best," and you can see Red West and all of them just throwing their head back. He's being recorded.
Oh,
It's hilarious.
yeah, I
The subject
remember
matter.
that.
I'm not gonna say what he said because I think it would offend some people, but I think everybody gets my drift. And but I think it was I don't know if it was Jerry or Sonny or someone because their back was to the camera. I'd have to replay it, and then I would know. It makes her. You mean the one that real dog from last night? He goes, "Oh man, she gave the just like
Yeah, I
Red
think it
West
was.
snapped his
I
neck
think
off."
I think it was Lamar that came out with like, "Oh no!"
Boy, I saw a picture of Lamar. He lost a lot of weight after Elvis died. I saw a
Yeah, he
picture.
did.
He didn't even look the same. There was one time when I saw an interview of him, and I hadn't seen him after he lost all the weight, and I'm like, "Who is that?" And then I looked at it and said it was Lamar Fike. I'm sorry, Lamar Fike, and he lost a lot of weight. But there was one picture where they were walking down, and he was freaking huge
He was
at that
huge.
time. I it's unbelievable how big he was. Yeah, I can't say nothing about that because I'm a big guy myself. But I feel for that. But some of the things that he would do that he would carry. Remember that one time when he carried Elvis on stage on his back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Elvis looked, Elvis's legs looked like two matchsticks coming around his hips.
Val said, let me put that up. Yeah, it was Jerry Schilling said that. That's what Val was talking about. She said that. Said a dog. Yeah, but I don't know. There's some people out there that have a different viewpoint of how they discuss things that were negative and all that, and they just can't. They don't. They attack people for bringing this up or saying that. A lot of them sit there and say, "Well, Elvis never cheated on Priscilla." But you know what? Come on, folks. I'm not stupid. Just because you got married and you put a ring on your finger, even if you did lose it at the Circle G Ranch, which some say he really didn't. But anyway, that's a time for another story. He's the most known, most photographed, probably one of the, if not the best looking man walking the face of the earth, and you're going to tell me that guy was monogamous? So I'm not stupid, and I don't care what he did in his private life. That's his private life. But they go into discussion, and what they say is, well, it never happened. And the people who tell the stories about that, they're all liars and all that. Well, that's not the way it is. When we discuss things like that, and when these things come up, whether you want to believe it or not, that's up to you. And I'm not gonna say anything to you about it. We agree to disagree. But I think we're all adult enough to know that Elvis was not a monogamous. He wasn't loyal. But then you know what? The person he was married to wasn't either, was she?
Yeah.
She had that affair right after Lisa Marie was born, and but I'm not in her shoes in the situation she was in. I wouldn't blame my wife if she did that. I was out doing it. I would be upset and hurt, but then I'd have to stop and think, well, what else is she going to freaking do?
Once again, I might get shot for this, but I think I have a valid
You're too
point.
far away. You'll never get shot.
No, verbally. The point is this, right? You have to have two people in a marriage, right?
Yep.
Whether that be physical and emotional, right?
Right.
And the long and the short of it is, if you as a husband neglect your wife emotionally and physically, it's only a matter of time that she's gonna go look for it elsewhere, right? Because uh, the long and the short of it is this: if you don't give your wife or your husband the attention that they deserve, uh, in actual fact, what you're doing is you're teaching them to live without you, right?
Well, it's also, and I'm coming from the scriptural side of it, the Bible, but it makes it very clear that if they're not in a marriage, if they're not, I don't know how to really put it, guys. So excuse me if this offends you, but I don't want to do it. If they're not performing their duties, husband or wife, and they refuse to do it, scripturally, I don't know how long it would be, but if they're refusing to do that, scripturally, they would have grounds for divorce. And but it's not like if she didn't, it's been a week or so. That's not what it is. If it's years, you know. So was Elvis refusing her like she said? I don't know.
No,
You know,
not that I.
but it's none of my freak. What I tried to do is it's none of my business, and I don't care because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with his music. It has nothing to do with his movies. It has a lot to do with his frame of mind. I care about that because I know what it's like to be cheated on. I don't know. That's kind of a subject. That's one of those subjects that I appreciate. Everybody that's on here can have a nice discussion. After he married, he tried to be monogamous until he learned about that's what I understand. But how long? That was only a year. A year? What year? Because she got pregnant basically the night they got married. Because Lisa Marie was born exactly 9 months later. And she started having an affair after Lisa was born. So probably after that period of time when it's okay to, start having sex, she got involved with somebody. And, but, it's something we discuss and we'll always discuss, but I will always come to, unless somebody can tell me why I should, I'll always come to the conclusion in my mind that I don't care. It doesn't affect anything else. It doesn't affect what I'm trying to protect is his legacy with the music, the movies, his humanity, his humanitarianism, all of it. That's what I want to protect. But we're going to have these discussions, and I welcome them. So, I appreciate it. CCAT, no, I will try to find that. Have you watched the video? I haven't seen that, CCAT. I got to look that up. Getting deep, LOL. So, okay. I don't know. That's kind of a dual definition. Let's remember, it wasn't all about sex with Elvis. That's what those books don't share. Yep, there you go, Susan. Sex sells. That's why these books come out like Atlanta and Elvis, What Happened, and who else we talking about that wrote books? Priscilla. I haven't read Ginger's book. I don't know what she has to say in there. That book we're going to go to is going to discuss some of his, supposedly discusses some of his quirks, and I hate to discuss it, but I think it's something we can all listen and go, yeah, it's bullshit. But I wasn't there. All I know is he's the best entertainer. He's ever. Best singer, best person. At the end of the day, we all screw up somewhere along the line. We all have our faults and our quirks. Tracy, go ahead.
We all have trash in our life at some point.
Yeah. If you have to be careful with what you say on here, how much more so Elvis Presley's every day of his life. Yeah. It's only because his lovers told their story. There you go. If the only thing after the music I respect him for is how he held that image, remember what? Yeah, an image is hard to live up to. You're right, David. I love getting deep in this subject, and that's why I refuse to do away with this section, because no matter if we get one page or we get 2 chapters or what, we're going to have a lot of discussions about Elvis, and just reviewing the books, you get different review points. Sometimes you got a book by one person, another book by another person that's covering kind of the same topic, and a lot of times each one has different viewpoints of how it happened, but the end result was the same. Everybody looks at something different than the other thing. It's just the way it is, And you can agree to disagree, but sex sells. Please send me address, fellas. Only kidding. That book by DeBarvin. still has people believing it, even when it has been debunked. Some won't let go. I don't know if I got that book. What's the name? What's the title of that book, Susan? Yes, Tracy. Yes. Much respect to Anne Margaret, to Shelley Fabaret. You know, I'd say a lot of his co-stars weren't, you know, tell all. But I think Anne Margaret and Shelley Fabaret have been the ones that really protected that image. And Anne Margaret's just not gonna. She has no reason to. Rick, it's yes. Okay. I don't think I have that book, but I've heard about it. I've heard it's trash. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I don't know if it's worth reading. I was kind of scanning through it, and we'll see if we do it. But it might be one of those books that just you get on there and you just want to vomit. It's so some of it's. I'm going to tell you, there's some books I've read, like that one book I was reading, Baby Let's Play House, or I wouldn't say Elvis What Happened because that was much longer. That gets to points that they say, and I get so infuriated. I almost want to just gag. It's a strange reflex, but it's just like irritates the shit out of me. You know? No, don't want you to read it. Just saying it was trash and people fall for it. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, I'll just leave it alone. I've seen enough discussion about that book to not want to read it. I'm not going to waste my time. And I've heard of the book, but I don't think I ever really. You know what another good book is? Scotty Moore's book, Blue Moon Boys. That's a great book. It's just, you know, it's the beginning of it all, and his stories are really good. Scotty Moore was a good storyteller too.
Yeah, he had a good sense of humor.
I got that, Tracy. Day by Day. That's an awesome book. Yeah, I got it on PDF and I got it in hard copy. It's so freaking heavy. I don't even bring it down anymore. I just read the PDF. It's so big and heavy. Where'd I put it? It's right there. I use it all the time. When I do my This Day in Elvis History, I'll scan through it and see. I don't pick everything out of it because some of it's just like little things. Elvis drove down to the corner, got a cup of coffee. I don't give a shit. It doesn't say that, but the interesting stuff. And then I try to do research and try to find pictures that apply to it and tell a little story of what happened. But it's a good book. I like Ernst Jorgensen. There's a couple of videos about him that I want to share on a watch party where he talks about it, because that man, I tell you what, we wouldn't have FTD, we wouldn't have all these sessions, all this, if it wasn't for him. They hired him to go in and catalog everything and get everything together, and he created, and this is what I've read and understand, and I think you all agree that he owns FTD, Follow That Dream company. And so I thank him for that. I got probably 80% of the FTD box, the sets, up till recently when they're starting to get up to $80, $90 for a 3 CD. That new Harem Scarum one is like $69 or $79 for 3 CDs.
Wow.
Like, holy shit. Breaks my heart that Elvis went back to Anne in 67 and 72 to tell her he loved her and he wanted her back. That was the most Anne revealed in her book. Yeah. I've read her book. I've pulled out on PDF that portion about Elvis, and it's a good portion of the book. I'd say probably close to 30 or 40 pages that she discusses Elvis, when she first saw him, and all that. It's so respectful, and she doesn't get the details. She doesn't get personal. She just talks about how he was and the person he was. And you're right. Who made that comment earlier? And Mark, somebody's the one that said that. I'll have to look at it. Oh yeah, maybe it was Susan. I think Susan said it.
Yeah, I think it was Susan.
And she, you know what? For her, what is she? She's almost 80 now. Maybe a little bit more. Anne Margaret.
Anne Margaret, yeah, she's around about that.
I'm checking right now. Anne Margaret. She's 84 years old. And I tell you what, I saw a picture of her that was within the last couple of years, and she still looks freaking good. And you know why? Other than she probably did some really minor stuff, but she didn't do this any kind of cosmetic surgery that changes her looks. They get, they've ruined, some of these people have ruined their faces by doing that. I'm sorry, ladies. I think people are naturally beautiful, but I just also understand little Botox, all stuff that I agree with that, but look at Priscilla. I mean, God, that what she did, and it was worse before she got a lot of it corrected. Why? Helen Mirren, somebody's never had it done. Sally Field, they're still absolutely, Helen Mirren is one of the sexiest women still to this day. She was in Yellowstone 1923, and to me, she's just freaking hot. But also, I'm also only like 13 years younger than her, so and we could share wheelchairs. Anne was just at a convention with Pat Boone, and she looked, Shelley Fabares looks fantastic still. Slurring words, LOL. Who's slurring words? Me? Am I slurring words? Am I slurring words to him? Okay, I don't know who he's. Oh, look who it is! It's our buddy. So just let him go. He just thinks he's gonna troll here. So do what they want to do. Yeah, that's it, guys. Just ignore him. Vermin. So, guys, Anne Margaret, definitely. She's been one of the rare ones that didn't say anything, and her book's really good, and she was good, great, and Grumpy Old Man. That was good with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
And they've tried to get stories out of her, but she just won't crack, I tell you.
Yeah, she won't.
She's the prime example of loyalty.
But she's very love to hear Scotty. Yeah. Shelley Fabares was the same way. Shelley Fabares never even wrote a book or anything. I don't think any of them did, really. How many stars wrote a book? Stars, co-stars, not other women that, there's some of them that I can't think of any other. Dolores Hart, as a nun she is today, she wrote a book, God is Bigger Than Elvis. There's actually a good video of that too. I could put up, but it's not, the whole thing's not about Elvis. And that's the only thing. But she still looks nice. But yeah, she's actually, I think, the mother now. I don't know what they call them. I don't know much about Catholics. Larry King tried. Yeah, Larry King tried too.
Yeah,
I think
tried hard.
I know she was on Johnny Carson a lot, but I don't think they ever talked about Elvis. But there was another guy with this obnoxious interview that tried to get her, and she sat there and didn't say anything, and she just kind of get, I'm not going there type of response,
She handled it brilliantly because she stood her ground. She told Larry King straight out, I know where you want me to go, and I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't care about your ratings. I don't care what your motivation is for asking the questions. And she stood her ground. She told him straight up, I'm not going there.
Thank you, Valerie. I couldn't remember the name. You're right. Yeah, I when I was living in Connecticut, where she was at wasn't very far, and I always kept meaning, because I used to have to travel to Danbury and different hotels we owned there, and I would go to inspect them, and there was one day I was going to go near where she was at, and I thought, I'm going to make a day of it and stop by. But when I went by, there was, for some reason, they wouldn't give me entrance. And I just asked, is there a way to see her? And they go, yeah, it's really difficult. The only way to do it is if she ever does watch out for announcements for when she does charity stuff out, and goes out. That's the best way to ever do. So, yeah, Val, it's good. I've got that on video. So we should do it. I mean, even though it doesn't cover Elvis completely, it does all tie in. She was absolutely beautiful. She is. She's beautiful, and she just had that in Loving You. I mean, I'm not Loving You, but in King Creole, when they're on that boat. Oh no, we're in there when he's trying to get her to the hotel room at the beginning, and she's standing there, and then when he's walking her home, and this is her first movie, and she's standing there, and those tears are like welling up in her eyes, and you could tell it was all real because it was all. You saw the whole process. It wasn't like they shot away, they came back, and she had tears in her eyes. David Judge, not yes, yeah. I know there's some people that really need to learn that, you know. But anyway, you're right. You're right. Judge not lest ye be judged, and we will be judged. But you know, I used to have a bad habit of just making judgment. But I used to be real picky when I first meet people. I'd always get a first impression, and a lot of times you're wrong. Sometimes I'm right. But I started looking. I thought I'm quit doing that because I'm kind of judging them. But there's some people that right away that they're just not. They're not honest people. But like I was saying with that interview with Alana Nash, she's just got that little self-entitled arrogance. I ought to play just a little short clip because a lot of you've seen it. She just, So we'll go through the book. I still want to go through the Memphis Mafia book with it, but I'm just going to do it in sections. I'm just going to highlight some stuff, and we'll just go from there. Susan loves Elvis. My message for you. Oh, okay. He was on PBS. The interview is online when Ann says how jealous people were of Elvis and never cared when he was living. Yeah.
Is Lori still here?
I don't know. I really don't know. Hold on.
I haven't seen her name pop up in the comments
You know what?
for a while.
Hold on a second. Let me do it. No, she's not. Well, she may just be listening.
Oh yeah. She's listening. I remember now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when they just walk away from it and get out of the chat, I think it shows them not being there. But sometimes they're there, that they're just listening. But when they're in the chat, when you got your cursor in there to make chat, then it shows you.
Yeah.
I learned that just recently because there was somebody that was going to come in and listen to the show, and they got in there, said hello, and then I went to check and they were gone, and I'm like, geez, man, they're not going to even hang for the whole show. But then I found out afterwards that they were there. It's just a friend can be closer than a brother. I know about that. Well, my brother, I don't know if y'all heard, but my brother was supposed to come. I hadn't seen him in 10 years or 9 years or something like that. And before that, it was when my dad passed away in 2011. And we were excited. They were supposed to go to Albania for missionary work for the church he's with. They don't call it a church, but it just makes it simpler to explain to y'all. And so they're in Little Rock. So they got a great deal with the airlines to fly out of Atlanta here, where it's $1,000 for their tickets less than flying out of Little Rock, which is crazy. So what they did is they were going to stop by here when they're coming back from Albania and spend a little time with us. And I was psyched. That was kind of iffy because he hasn't seen me since I really become disabled. So it's just that I just don't want him to see me. But then, it's like my wife says, he's your freaking brother. He's not going to care. And, she's right. So anyway, so I got a message from him 3 days ago. And his mother-in-law, is real sick, and they've been having to take care of her. And now they got hospice coming, and they got to find a place for her to be taken care of because they took care of my mom for 7 years, so she passed away, and it's taking a toll on them. So they're going, she's got the insurance or the money to be able to do it. So there's no, So anyway, he said we're not coming.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
And I was so looking forward to it because he's deaf. I got two brothers that are deaf. And I was looking forward to sitting here in the room with him and talking in sign language. We didn't really do a whole lot of that. We talked because he lip read. That's what they taught him to do before he learned sign language. But we had kind of our own way of talking back and forth, but it's silent. It's just, there's no noise. And it's kind of, it's kind of cool. And it was just nice because I really like to brush up on it. I used to teach it. I taught it for a while. And And then, once I moved and we started going our separate ways, I really didn't use it that much. But it's like riding a bike. A lot of it comes back to me. I could sit there and I'll play something that's like a book. Okay, like I'll do an audiobook, and sometimes I'll just sit back and I'll try to sign what they're saying as they're going. And I got a dictionary here, and I'll just pull aside what's the word, and I remember it, and it's cool. It's really cool. Came in handy a lot of times in school. And I got to tell you this one story. Banjo Paul will get a kick out of this. I know some of you might. So I have to keep it going. Lori, I have to keep it going. Here, my
Yeah,
phone.
she's
Oh, okay.
her
So,
phone free.
so anyway, when I was single, and my other brother, him and I, we got a condo together, living where we at, and we started a little business. We were doing, contract work with Home Depot and Lowe's, and we started to get into building a few homes, and for this one guy that had a tract of some property he was building homes on. Anyway, so Thursday, Friday, and Saturday were our nights to go out, and there was a place right down the road called Dodge City. And though I'm not a real big fan of country music, I like the older stuff. But this is a time when you had, with the achy breaky heart, you could tell your mom. Oh, anyway, that was driving me batty. But and then out came, I got friends in low places. But anyway, the band that they had a live band there, they were really good. They were called the Kentucky Headhunters, and they would let me get up there and play with them every once in a while. It was really cool. I had some songs I'd written, and I got up there and played them up there, or I'd do some song. They got up there and we played Suspicious Minds one time. Had fun. But anyway, when I wasn't doing that, we'd go there and he'd bring some of his deaf friends. So we'd all have this big old table, and all of us would be at the table. And I was wearing the cowboy hat. I was playing the whole role. I was it was fun, and we were sitting there and we'd be talking to each other in sign language. So there were some girls watching us, and they were really piqued their interest about trying to figure out what we were saying and all that. So they finally walked over and they had a note written, and so they said gave it to my brother and said, "Do any of you hear?" And my brother looked at me real quick, and he said, "No." He didn't want anybody to know that I could hear, because what he wanted to do was me tell them what they were saying. So we started talking, and two more of her friends came over, and they stood there, and they decided to join us in there. And so they're sitting there talking about each one of us, and they don't realize that I'm sitting there signing every word they're saying to my brother and their friends, everything. Let me tell you something. These are some of the dirtiest girls I ever met in my life, because they were getting descriptive. Oh man, I like him. I'd like to do this. I wonder if he'll come. And I'm signing this, and they're doing everything to keep from putting a smile on their face. So, so they kept going. And finally, it was getting towards the end, and I told my brother, I said, I got to go and everything. So I turned around and I looked at him. I said, we're getting ready to leave. The look on their face when they realized that I just heard every word they said, and I signed it to them. And we just all busted out laughing. So it came in handy for some jokes like that.
I can imagine they just about died.
Oh, I can't, but you didn't tell me. I said, she said, I asked if any of you can hear. And I said, well, he died. What are you going to do? Sue us? I said, but I'll tell you what. That one guy over there will accept your offer. And they said, we're going, we're out of here. And they weren't really intelligent. They were just cheesy people, and I don't like people like that. And I never went to the bars to pick up one anyways. I just went there to play music and listen to music. I'd usually have about 2 beers the whole night, and then our condo was right down the road, so we walked there back and forth. So it was fun. Those were good old days. They tore that place, burned Dodge City down. Anyways, talk about getting off subject. Your wife is right. Oh, that's sad and hard thing to do. We used ASL. Yeah, American. sign language quit quite a lot at the USPS. There were several deaf people working at the Postal Service. Yeah, when I was teaching it, I did it at a community college where I taught it at an adult education, and of course, college students can go too. Evening class. So I taught it twice a week, and I did that for 2 years during different semesters, and I made a lot. Back then, I made a little bit of money. I got, they would pay $25 for the course, very cheap, and or per session. No, wait a minute. They paid $125 for the whole thing, but I got $25 for each person. And, I had a job and everything I was doing at night. It was just pocket money for me. So I was, off of that with 10 people in the class, I would get $250, $300 for 4 weeks. And so it was nice little pocket money. But my brother's wife, the one who was going to come here, she actually works for the courts. They come. She's the one that go into the court when a deaf person's in there. She interprets for them. She's on standby to come in there, and even some news stations there in Little Rock. Did we lose Cam again? Val, a funny story. I gotta catch up here, don't I? So, David Lum, I ordered Lisa Marie's book, but then it's been in the display unit. I have not read it. I'm so tired of all. I knew she'd die after her son passed away. She did. She looked awful. She really looked awful. Richie Boy, I know who he is. Richie Boy, come in peace. We all love Elvis, and I've enjoyed your live stream. All we need to get along and just love Elvis. I am. I'm going to ignore the trash. That's all I'm going to do. So that's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, I get along fine with the people that are on my channel. And I do, anyways, that's all I'm going to say about it. We knew the trolls and the minions would pop out, and that's fine. I got raid. Yeah, it was a good book, David. I enjoyed it. I like the way they did it with the print and the book, with the print being different for each person. And then if you get it in audio, you got Riley and Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts is speaking for Lisa Marie, and Riley's speaking for herself. This is great stories. I got it when it was released, and I was in the hospital at the time, and I read it. I listened to it that night, and the whole night. And then before I left the hospital, about a week later, I still read it 2 more times. Valerie, good advice. Thank you very much. So, what else do we have? More books. So we'll do the Memphis Mafia book, Atlanta Nash. We'll just screw through. But we're going to start Careless Love next week. It took us 6 weeks to get through Last Train to Memphis, but I think we had some great discussions. Really got into that DNA of Elvis, protecting and getting to know his legacy. That's what we do. Some of the negative stuff comes up. We'll discuss it. We all have our opinions, so we'll move forward on that. But what I like is, unlike some other channels, when you leave my channel, you feel good. The other ones, you kind of need a shower. Susan, she's 84, I think. Who's that? Or am I way? Oh shit, I'm way down. Hi, Satin. Hey, Satin. Hello, all coming in way late. You haven't missed nothing. You can catch the replay. We've had fun. Did some trivia. Finished off Last Train to Memphis. During the week, we're going to be doing some more book reviews, and then we'll get our radio shows going. And, of course, we got the 2 watch parties and our inside the studio. So, all great stuff. When you walk out, you're feeling pretty damn good. Banjo Paul, better late than never, Satin. Hope you've had a good day. Yeah, thanks. Hello, Deb. I think we've covered it. You got anything else, Cam?
No, I'm pretty much up there.
Yeah, we've been 2.5 hours, so that's about average. But good discussion. We appreciate everybody. And like I said, you guys want to talk about Columbo, I'm happy to. My favorite episode, just to let you all know, I don't know if everybody's still here. I think I said Dick Van Dyke when he had his wife shot by that ex-prisoner. And then I like the one that where the guy's running for, I think, governor, and he kills his press guy, and you know, I just love the way Columbo, you know, solves crime. That everybody thinks he's a freaking idiot, you know.
One more thing before I forget.
That's a good one. Banjo Paul Yellow, yes, I have my wee pal. I do not want to ask your wee pal.
Yeah.
So on our chat group, I'm going to show it one more time here. That's the chat box. Where's the? Is it another one? Yes, it is in. We're still in the book one. Okay. Right here. Scan the code. If you got WhatsApp, it gets you in the group. Or just get WhatsApp and then come back and I'll put the link down in the description. We've got 14 or 15. We had an interesting discussion. Unfortunately, it got off the rails a little bit, but I've deleted the whole chat because I just don't. It was negative stuff, and there's other people that seem to handle that stuff better than we do, or want to. So, hopefully, I send all the notifications. I send the thumbnails, let you know. And we can have chats like we did yesterday. Something pops out, we'll just send out, start a chat about it. You don't have to answer right away. The chat group's always open. And then, don't forget, one more time, some people have come in a little bit late. So, this week, is it news and stuff? All right, so for those of you who've been following us on our Tuesday one, we got the second half of the BBC documentary, and that's Tuesday, Wednesday midnight, Tuesday overnight. We did the first one last week. We've had some good ones so far. And then Saturday, like we did yesterday, same time. Actually, I'm going to change this. The time's going to be 5:30, so I don't step on Rich's toes on his show. I don't want to interrupt with that. We're going to do the full 1984 Elvis Presley, The Echo Will Never Die, the actual production put together with the intro with 𝐂𝐫𝐞𝐿 and all that. So it's a much better view than some of the things that they have on the internet where they have part one, part two. Well, this is a 50-minute video. And we'll throw in, we had a nice one we threw in yesterday. We did two of them. A little 12-minute interview with Peter Gronick. That was really good. So, we got those. And then, of course, we've got some of the other stuff that's going. You got Rich's show on Saturdays at 3:30. We've got several things on the Blue Moon schedule on the radio. Rich is going to start doing a Gospel World Tour Thursdays, 7 p.m. on Blue Moon Radio. And then anything else? I think that's it. That pretty much sums up all Rich's stuff and ours. So next week we'll add something else. We're going to get Cam and I are going to get our radio shows going. But as this, I think we'll just wind it down. Let's wind it down and just Tracy, if you guys want to get in the chat, join the chat. You're not. Well, we can do some discussions offline as far as Elvis, Columbo and all that. I love it. We could do it. We can have chats like that. Anybody wants to get into it, we'll keep it positive. You can't do anything. You can't but keep it positive with Columbo. But Columbo in his car and his coat. You know what? Another good episode of his is when supposedly his wife died.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one. She slapped him. I don't want to spoil it for those. I haven't seen it.
I remember that one.
Lewis is a good person. So are you. It needs to stop now. Hey, I'm not doing anything. I have had no involvement with him for months. Whatever he says is is BS because I've only made one comment on his. I'm not going to say anything. I've only made one comment ever on his channel ever. I had a couple of videos, but I'm fine. I've moved forward. This show, we've had a great show. So if you want to keep up the discussion, I'll just block you for the day and you can come back later. But his name's not to be brought in here. It's trash and it's negative. So any more and I'll block you. So anyways, guys, for everyone else, ignore that. I'm good. And we will have our watch on Tuesday night. And I'll start preparing for inside the studio next Saturday. Three more great American Sound. That's been a great series. If you haven't got a chance to see Saturdays, check it out because I do a little bit of history and tell the story about American Sound. And wait until you see the picture of the studio that he recorded in. You would think that you know how when you see these videos of people standing in line to get tickets at the horse races and they're all jammed up, that's what it looks like. They're all right on top. And you could see urns for cigarettes, all this stuff all around them. And they were, I'm sure most of them were smokers because most musicians were smokers. And you could see all that around, and you could see Crispin, the drummer, tell him, Cam. Crispin.
Yeah. Oh,
You're welcome,
okay.
Tracy. Thank
You lost me.
you. When then that picture about Crispin being slammed up against that wall on the drum set.
Oh yeah, he had about a 4-inch space behind his back.
Oh, you know what?
He looked like a sardine crushed
Yeah.
into a can there.
Hang on. I am going to, if I can find it. What did I do with it? Don't tell me I freaking deleted it. 19. I was going to show the picture, but oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, maybe it's in here. Let's see if I got it in here. I might have it in here because it was. Yeah, I have it in here because I did a
Sure
slide.
thing, Tracy. You're most welcome.
Yeah, I know. Tracy really likes the book chats, and I'm glad she is enjoying them. That was a great suggestion for inside the studio. So I'm going to add more notes each time. Here we go. Take a look at this, guys. This is the studio that Elvis recorded American Sound with the rats in the rafters and all that. Check it out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's Emmons right there. The keyboard is right with his back to us. On the right is Reggie Young, the guitarist. You got Bobby Wood on the other one. So I think Emmons, you can see it looks like he's got the organ and the clavinet right there. That's probably Cogbill on the bass. You got Crispin on the drums and Elvis, I would say, because it looks like his arm coming down. But because there's a hand right there. You see the hand right below? See that arm coming down on the left? You can see the end of the hand. And then to the right, there's a stand of something. I bet you that's a microphone. That's a screen in front of the microphone. And it's a black leather. It looks like a black coat. So it's the middle of winter. I bet that fucking place was cold. Because look at them. They're all wearing long sleeve coats. And look at Reggie Young. He's got a shirt and that coat on. And to be playing guitar with a lot of shirts and all that, it's not easy.
No.
And look at Crispin. Just jam up there. And you guys, the sound, it just goes to tell you don't need to build $1 billion studio to get the sound. Chips Moman was a genius. Marty Lacker, I don't care anything about what he said about Elvis. Whatever negative stuff he said, I don't care. You can't do a damn thing about it. It's history. But he, in my opinion, as far as from the 60s on until Elvis died, made the best suggestion that Elvis got the whole time.
Yeah.
Is do American Sound. Because he had just finished the 68 special. And I would have to say it would be between Steve Bender and Marty Lacker that helped Elvis the most at that time in his career. Marty Lacker finally talked Elvis into doing it. And the story about all the guys in there waiting for Elvis, they had called Neil Diamond and said, we're rescheduling, you're not coming, Elvis is coming. And knowing Neil Diamond, I seen Neil Diamond about 8 times. And half of those times was with Ronnie Tutt. And he was great in concert. But, from the stories that were told, these guys were standing there with their backs to the door when Elvis walked in. Look at what kind of place is this, and they were like rats in the scene. And they said that they felt They felt electricity like enter the room. They could actually. There was a couple of them. That was that video. There was a thing that I did where they said talking about kicking the Memphis Mafia out of the recording session, and the guys were talking about, you know, what Elvis was like because all they knew was movie music for Elvis. You know, in their minds, they're probably sitting there thinking because the only thing that they heard that was of any major significance and mature was "If I Can Dream." Everything. I mean, there were some other good songs, Guitar Man and all that. They were great songs. But Elvis's reputation at that point was movie music and movies, and so they had this thing in their mind. Elvis Presley. But so some of us said, "Oh man, the king of rock and roll," and all that. They were excited about it, but kind of, unsure of how it was going to turn out. And so, they turned around and Elvis was standing there. They said it was just like electricity. And Elvis was sick for the first, I think, 3 days that he did that. And the songs that he sang there, I think they would not have been as good as if he'd been well. I think that impact it had on his voice, because you can hear it when we did "Wearing That Love Don't Look," when he was squealing his voice and he would lose his voice. Yeah, you're right. He wasn't riding high on the charts at that time. Yeah, Steve Bender would have done more with Elvis, but and then Chip's Moment. But I don't know the story. I've heard it. I'm thinking maybe I'll get it in the Memphis Boys book. Excuse me, or find out somewhere else. But evidently there was a rift that happened between Moment and Elvis after everything was done. I'm not. That's all I've heard, and I don't know if anybody's heard anything different. But don't take that as gospel at all. I'm not going to sit here and spread something, but it's open for discussion. You guys know a lot more about some things than I do. I don't profess to know everything about Elvis, and I never will. But I'll never kick you out here for what you think. Damn, I went through some coffee today. We got any more in here? 2 big cups of coffee, big Elvis mug coffee. Ooh, look at that! I got another whole cup. That's 2 whole cups. That's crazy. Yeah, if Bender had kept with Elvis, maybe got into the production of some of his stage shows or Vegas shows or all that. Moment in the studio with his engineer, who was great. I mean, what they did on the mixes, and back then, that's when I was working in the studios, that's what they used was tape. What was this 2-inch tape. And 16 or 32 track. I think they were using. I think Moment had a 16 track, and somebody's got that, and it's been for sale. I don't know if they ever sold it. It's for sale for like $250,000. The mixing board. So anyway, you just think about what he did, and then if Elvis, Cam and I have mentioned this before, and now we're off into the what if. It's upsetting that he never got Bender's calls. Yeah. I believe it was his second marriage. Oh, it's got to be somebody else. His career could have been totally different. This is just my dream of what I wish could have driven Elvis's career in a different way. Steve Bender, some form or fashion, be involved in, not all the time, just some kind of productions for Elvis. Like if Elvis had been going in a different direction, something like the CBS special would have been totally different. He could have probably done something else. I don't know. I think that was the biggest mistake, is doing that special, because all it is done is just, feed the trolls, money on that, because that's how everybody remembered Elvis, and everybody that I grew up, that I would talk to that didn't like Elvis, said, "Oh, he's just some big old fat guy running around in a jumpsuit." Well, they don't know anything. Bender said he gave Elvis his number, and Bender tried to call but couldn't get through, and number was changed. per Steve and reinventing Elvis. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember that now. And then Chip's moment, if there hadn't been that riff, and I think it has something to do with, I don't know, I'll have to find, I don't want to say, I don't know. But if he could have had, let's just leave Bender out of the picture right now. Chip's moment to take over the production. Because like we saw yesterday, when we were talking in the inside the studio, his studio wasn't tied to any studios. So anybody can go in there and record and do their own music. So I think Elvis would have been wise if Elvis could have stayed there. It was right down the road from him. Made it easy. But, he wound up putting it in his home because I think he just got tired of going to Nashville and going to L.A. or whatever. And so let's just say Chips is in there, and then you get Jerry Weintraub in there. And get Tom Hewlett involved and pull him away from the Colonel. I think that would have changed the whole direction because he would have got his, this is all of him living, and we know that his health he was destined to die. I mean, it was just the way it is, but maybe it could have been prolonged. So you got that. You got Tom Hewlett that could plan the whole world tour, and everyone else involved, because Parker didn't have to go out of the country to sign a contract for a concert. He could have sent Dixon, or he could have sent Hewlett as a representative. All I could do is give him authority, power of attorney, but he didn't want to leave the country. Period. So anyway, Chip's moment, and then after he did that first tour that he was supposed to do, I'd have loved for him to come back, and whatever plans he had, whatever things changes that he talked about with Billy and a few other people, whatever plans he had, incorporate those into everybody involved, and then opening his own studio.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
He had the clout. He had the power to do it. He was a producer himself in his first mind anyways. There would have been no problem with financing it. A bank would have done it. And, build this studio and have other people come there and record. You wind up recording your albums for free because the money you're making for it. So all his stuff is just pretty much bottom dollar to do and top notch with Chip's moment. And that's the direction. That was the timing. To me, it should have been earlier, but that to me would have been the direction that Elvis could have gone, and then he could have done his gospel tour. He would have sold every place out of it. He said, "I'm doing a gospel tour." I would have gone to just listen to him hear gospel.
Well, we know the
Yeah, go ahead.
We know the record studio was in the process because Graceland has the blueprints.
Yeah. He could have put it right there on the property if he wanted to, or somewhere there, Oh, no. Who's maybe instead of Chip's moment having to close it down in 1972, Elvis could have bought it and got started there and got in there, clean the place up, kill all the rats. Hire some kid. Oh, Elvis would have done it. He could sit in a chair, pretend there were TVs, and start shooting the rats. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I thought so, Tracy. Thank you. That's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it. Chip did have a disdain for it, man. I tell you what, it's like Chip said when somebody said to him about royalties, and he says he said you can just leave. It's not that way. You guys can just all leave. He didn't care. He had enough people coming in there to record, fill that studio. He could make money, And then the smartest thing that Elvis did during those sessions too is kick the Memphis Mafia out of there, and none of them could. And then he had focus the whole time, because you remember how some of the audio inside the studios that we do, you can hear him making remarks to Charlie and Joe and all that. We've never heard that in any of the inside the studios with American Sound. Creative role, maybe something. Yeah. Go ahead, Ken.
He was focused solely on the music. There was nothing else to distract him.
Yeah, Tracy, you're right. It's just sad. It's just what if. It's just the what if. Probably would have never happened because even if things were turning around and doing things, he was he was destined. It was in the books for it. It just kind of just wished that some people that were a detriment to recovery and getting better were not changed. Before I think it could have really helped him, at least you know go a little bit longer, live a few more years, 4 or 5
Yeah,
years
but
more at least, and
it comes it comes down to the age old point again, like we mentioned last week. He could have gotten rid of everybody, but if he didn't realize the importance of the problem at hand, it would have continued
yeah.
in any way. So,
And
you know,
medical or medicine at that time, there's a lot of things that he has that they didn't
they
have
didn't know
tools
how.
to be able to
No.
do it or how to treat it, and timing. He lived at the perfect time for music, but the worst time for health.
Yeah.
I don't think. You tell me what you guys think. The Colonel hated Bender. What would he do? What did he call Bindle?
Yeah.
Colonel always
Bindle.
called him Bindle. That's what Jerry Schilling said. And
That's such
Moment,
a that to me is so disrespectful.
yeah, yeah. If you can't pronounce somebody's name, don't do it. We know about
Yeah.
that, don't we? It's just it's so disrespectful when you know how to pronounce it and you don't do it. I just
Yeah.
hate that. That's why
That
when
to
I get
me,
somebody on here that I haven't seen before and their names you're not certain how to pronounce it, I'll always ask them if I'm pronouncing it right, and they'll say yeah or no, and I say, well, what do they call it? Phonics. Just write it out.
mm,
So, or somebody will tell me, and because I mean, look at my name. Everybody it takes a while for people to figure out Rick. I think once things start to unravel, it can be hard. Yeah, right, Valerie. Exactly right. I like that, David Alon, executive producer for this recording project, Elvis Presley. His name was on a lot of the albums as executive producer. We can hear that in the beginning, all the insight that we have all the way back to in the '60s. You can tell that he was directing some of it. In the '50s, you had Chet Atkins as a producer. But what was that comment Chet Atkins made? Elvis had a way he wanted to do it. He was doing it his way. You gotta feel comfortable. That's part of the artistry of it. How old was Eddie Cochran when he died? Well, let's just Google it here. He was a good guitar player. Summertime Blues. My God, that's a great song. Good dance song. He died. Wow, 22. Eddie Cochran was only 22 years old. How did he die? Car? Was he die? What? Yep, car accident. He did Come On Everybody, something else. I think he didn't he do Summertime Blues?
yeah.
Yeah, he did. Summertime Blues. Genie. He had some great stuff. He was a great guitarist. You know who I haven't heard from for a long time as a great guitarist is Bad to the Bone.
Oh,
George
what's his
Thorogood.
name?
George Thorogood.
George Thorogood. Yeah.
Yeah, Buddy Holly was I think 22.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
he
like
was
that.
pretty young too. All these tragedies. Look at Judy Tyler, man. She would have been a very. She would have. She would have had a great career as an actress. He was. Well, let's see. That's four to. He was 23. He was 23 years old.
Crazy.
And I know Richie Valens was like 18 or 19.
17.
Was it 17?
Yeah.
He was, yeah, he was born, yeah. He, yeah, he did. He died just 3 months shy of his 18th birthday, but yeah, 17. He lived
Yeah.
not far from us. My mom, he wasn't very far from us at all where we lived in California. I think he was like 15, 20 miles away. And you know, with my mom's religion, we've discussed it before. She goes around and knocks on doors and all that. And she used to go over in that area and knock on doors and all that. And she knocked on his door one time. The mother answered, and he was out in the garage playing. She didn't know who he was, you know. And she said something too. I wasn't even born yet. Yeah, I was, because it was just before he died. I was born in '58, so. But anyways, he was out in the garage playing and practicing or something like that, and he started playing one of the songs that was a hit, "Do Donna," you know that one. And my mom said, "Well, he sounds just like the one." And the mother looks at him and goes, "He is the one. That's my son." You know, she said his real name. I think it was Richard Valenzuela, and he Richie Valens, and so
Ricky Ricardo.
yeah, Ricky Ricardo. I was named after Ricky Nelson. That was my mom's favorite singer. That's why my legal name is Ricky, not Richard. My mom didn't want me to be stuck with the nickname for Richard, and I'm glad she did. I wouldn't want to go through life being called Dick. It'd be terrible. Both toured, yeah. Buddy Holly and they went, yeah. Patsy Cline, Hank Williams, Johnny Cash lived as long as he did. Johnny Cash had some good albums near the end of his career too. Those American history, American ballads, or whatever the name of, where he did a couple volumes of it. And that song, "Hurt," was it "Hurt" or where he said like, I cut myself to see if I hurt or something like that. It was a song by a rock band. You guys can tell me the name of it. I'm horrible lately with
Oh,
remembering
you thinking of Rusty Cage?
who. I don't know who that is.
No, the song that was covered by the rock band was called Rusty Cage.
The name of the song was. No, you're thinking of something else. Then let's see, Johnny Cash. What's the name of the song? And of course, the other ones were great. 20 more. I want one of the later ones. Oh, he had one called "The Chicken in Black." I don't remember that one. Let me see. I'm gonna put "Hurt." Let's see what it'll tell me. I hurt myself today. Yeah, it's "Hurt." It's called "Hurt." I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. It's a 9 Inch Nails song, and he countrified it.
Oh,
He
okay.
did, and you know he was near the end of his, his voice was getting weak, but they came through. If you guys haven't heard it, you gotta treat yourself to some Johnny Cash near the end of his career. He does this great version, and it's by far not an Elvis type of version. Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and it's almost a narrative. You know, it's just it's sad the way he does it, because you know he's at the end of his career, but he does it so beautifully. Nice Helen, he grew up. Hey, Joe, we'll watch on, catch up later. Just off to watch Johnny. Oh, Lionel Richie. I saw him with Tina Turner when she was coming back, when she had the hit "What's Love." It was a good show. I wasn't as big of a fan of Lionel's, but he gave a great show. There's a lot of hits. I liked him better with the Commodores, but he did have some great solo. You know, great solo stuff. Jesus, guys, 3 hours. What are we going to do? We don't have nothing to talk about. We got 17 on board. I think the crowd has cleaned up a little bit here. Helen, very nice, Helen. Okay, yeah, bye, Helen. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it, everybody. And remember, one last thing before we go is we got to, what did I say? I don't know. I forgot what I was going to do now. Oh, yeah. See, the new poll contest. Funniest scene. So if you got a scene that you think's funny from one of his movies, we're going to start doing a poll. We've actually got about 10 put into the list. So I'll print this chat when everything's uploaded, and I'll print out the chat because I can print all the chats. I can actually print a transcription of this whole show, and sometimes I do if I need it for some reason. But so put your list or put it in the comments if we're all done, and just tell us. So we'll start next week. I'll play just a little short clip of them because we've been bumped because of playing that, but they bring us back on. And then you guys stay happy. Pick the good. Watch some great videos, some great channels out there. Brent's. You got Brent's channel. You got. There are some good ones out there, but just make sure that when you watch something from a video channel about Elvis, that when you're done, you don't feel like you've been wallowing in mud. You feel like you've heard some great stuff about Elvis, and some great music. That's what it's all about. That's what my channel's all about, and it will always be that way. Susan asks which one's best. Johnny Cash, awesome songs. He was lucky to get clean. I think his wife was instrumental in this.
Yeah.
That concert at Folsom Prison Blues was great in San Quentin. I'm guessing that there had to be one on a stalker. Jerry Schilling should have got him to England. Elvis would have stopped the whole country. Jerry wasn't working for him anymore at the end.
No. He was with the Beach Boys then.
Yeah. One of my favorite songs by Johnny Cash that I used to play when I was out gigging is A Boy Named Sue. Now, it took me a long time to get that decent because that's hard to do a narrative and play the music in the background and kick right in, and just it was just more like just a story, a narrative. And I'd never done a song like that. But by the time it wasn't Johnny Cash, but it came out pretty good. I would get requests for it quite a bit, but I wish I could gig again. It was so much fun. My wife would, come out sometimes. She was pregnant with our first child. She used to come all the time. I used to play every Sunday at this one place. And she'd come out there and she'd sit there and she'd drink diet, Coke or whatever she drank. And we swear that, my daughter got all interested in music because she was hearing me for like 5 months every Sunday playing. And my wife said sometimes she'd sit there and when I would stop, she would kick. So I was either saying kick his ass out of here or I wanted to play some more. I'm just kidding. I got great kids. My son is. I'm so proud of that boy. He had a 5% chance of living when he was born, and he's in the Marines now. So that goes to show you that there could be a lot of stuff, but we never expected him to, anyways. So I don't want to get on a sad note. Cute, Rick. One piece at a time. Elvis was his own man. Too hard for yeah. And what was it they said yesterday? Elvis could never say I'm sorry. He couldn't say it. He'd buy you a car or a house or something like that, but he could never say I'm sorry. I know some people like that. But I say I'm sorry all the time. I tell my wife, I always make sure my wife does so freaking much for me because of my, my disability. And I make sure that every time she does something, I say thank you. I make sure I say that because and she knows that I appreciate everything she does. It's not really a whole lot. There's just some things that she has to do that I can't do. My laundry, but and then she goes shopping for me, and I cook myself. I don't cook me. I cook my food myself, and because I got a microwave and a refrigerator and an ice maker and a coffee maker, and so I take care of myself. I don't want
No,
to.
I disagree with Lily on that one.
Well, Lily, okay. Well, let me get to the comments so I can scroll it back up.
Very strongly, I disagree with Lily on that one because you get women too. I have women in my life that cannot say sorry even if their life depended on it. So no, it's not just a male thing. It goes both ways.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, my ex-wife, she could not get those words out of her mouth. I
My
never
mother
want.
will die before she says sorry, honestly.
Yeah, but I can see that it probably leans toward mostly male, but it's not. It's not. I would say probably 60%. These are wild numbers. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
It's,
But it goes both ways. But you're right. I think it's a majority. It is majority. I don't know. Maybe half and half. I'm stupid. I'm not gonna sit
I'd
here.
say it's, I'd say it's pretty even.
CCAT. I do not think this group could ever run out of things to talk about.
No.
We don't. You guess what I like about
Oh,
you guys, man?
yeah. Sorry,
You-
Lily. Sorry. Yeah, it is. It is. But you also have to bring into account the times, right?
oh, I see what you're saying.
Because
Yeah.
because in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, men were taught to be the rocks. They were they were taught to be the compass of the household. They were
Okay.
taught to be supermen. They were taught to be
Yeah.
uh they infallible. They can face and overcome everything. So
Failure.
yeah,
Failure was never an option.
no.
And that comes, that saying was brought up by the guy that Gene Kranz, who did who was the flight director for the Apollo 13, and he said that, everybody was saying that we're not going to be able to do it. And he said, failure will not be an option, is not an option. And there was an interview with him. Hold on a second. Let me get this cough out of me. I watch Apollo 13 every time it's on because I remember that vividly when I was in school. We sat around that TV watching all the news for that. Anyway, yeah, we just got a discussion of Apollo 13. CCAT and hung out with a great group of people. Thank you, CCAT. We say that. Cam and I talk about it afterwards. It's like last week when Rich was with us. I don't want to say still with us because he is with us. At the end of the show, we were done and we had like a 3-hour show and all of us just looked at each other and we just said, that was a freaking great show. Total positive, none of this negative crap that these other guys do. That we were positive. And that, it's the same thing with our watch parties. Our watch party last Tuesday got a little off track, and that's my fault. But yesterday's watch party, beautiful, smooth. All of the watch parties have been great except for that last one. And when it was great too, but it just kind of got off a little bit. And the same thing with inside the studio. Our mission is that when you're done with this, I've said this before, you walk away feeling good about it. You just feel, wow, that was a good show, good songs, good talk, interesting topics. Instead of walking away, feeling like, you got to go out there and hate somebody, and that's just not that's not Elvis. Elvis wouldn't want that. He would appreciate what we do. So that's what we do. And we thank you all because you guys join in the conversations. And I love talking about Colombo. Yeah, here we go. Got to do it again. Got to do that, and we'll have to do the one for.
One more thing before I forget. One.
I love that. And then here we go. We got. Oh, nobody ever. Oh. There you go, Valerie. A little bit of X-Files. And then, of course, we got Friday the 13th. Okay, I'm having fun. Hey, Rick, Colombo rocks. Yes. I'm starving. Yeah, I got to eat something. I never eat before the show because I just don't want to, I don't like feeling full and trying to do something,
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. This might be a bit graphic, but it's about pretty much as honest as I can get. My stomach is so empty. My anus has started eating
Oh,
my intestines.
oh my God. Damn.
That's how hungry
Oh,
I am.
our viewers just dropped 10. Oh my God. I've never discussed, other than butts, I've never gotten that deep into it.
Pardon the pun.
Sea cat, can you make mine well done? I would love a good steak right now. I, actually, I'm gonna have her pick me up some. So, I think I'm gonna say what's the third time. We still got 16 people here. But you know what? You guys, a lot of people go back and play the replay, or they come back and catch it. And our views really pick up there. I'm averaging about 200 to 250 new subscribers every month. So that's cool. It got a little slow there when I wasn't putting so much out, but and that's all mostly off the replays. And they're starting to get a little bit larger and larger. But we do it for the fun. It's not so much about the views. We have a great crowd. We know everybody here. It seems like we know everybody here. So we miss Rich. So we'll be glad when he pops in here, because he's got some great stories too. All right, what is it? It's 4:00. We've been going for 3 hours. So y'all have a great evening, and we will hopefully see a lot of you on Tuesday. Join the WhatsApp group so we can have some fun with chats and just talk. We could talk about Columbo. We could talk about Rockford Files. That was a great show. The original Magnum PI. That was great. I love those old shows. If everybody's ever on my Facebook page, I always change my profile to some TV series from when I was growing up. I think I even had Gumby up there one time. You know who Gumby is, Cam?
No.
Oh,
Before my time.
Yeah. I still got my original Gumby standing right there looking at me. He's waving. I'll have to show you. There's just little claymation things.
Oh.
They used to do shows. I used to watch them, Pokey and Gumby, and Gumby and Pokey too. Stupid. I'm stupid. You're Lily Gumby laughing out loud. All right, hey, listen. Let's see what we got. Let's say goodbye to everybody. Lily, goodbye. Lori, Valerie, nice to see you here. Susan, I replied to your email, so oh yeah, you did. You replied back. Never mind. Thank you very much. Some of you have requested songs for Inside the Studio. Most of the songs that I can get, the songs, I have a better chance of having them if they're recorded in the 60s on. There are some 50s ones that are, they're all right. It's all mono. I want to get the ones that are really clean and good to do, because you can still hear the difference when it's done. I've got the sessions for Lottie Miss Claudia where he did it like 20 different times, and it's just, each one was quite interesting. But so if you want to request a song from any movie, any song from the 60s on, send it to me. Now, you can't do sessions with live songs, because he's only doing it once, so there's nothing more. But what Cam and I are doing, which I've been talking about for 6 months now, we're doing a comparison of 4 American Trilogy songs. One from Elvis on Tour, the one from American Trilogy, the one from Madison Square Gardens, and the one from Memphis, 1974. And we're comparing them, the differences and the timing, and we're going to wind up at the end. We're just going to take a vote of what's the favorite one. That'll be recorded. We can't do that live. So we'll record that and put that out there on a premiere, and we can talk about that. I'm excited about that. Some of you have seen my breakdowns. That's what I do. I break them down and compare them. Sunday, my lab, Sunday prayers. See you at Brent's party. Brent's having a party? He hasn't invited me. No, I'm kidding. Thank you, Rick. You're welcome. Cat Girl Blue. Oh, yeah. Hopefully you can catch us next week. Catch us in one of our live ones. We do lives on Tuesdays and Saturday, our watch parties. We watch a documentary. But hopefully you can make it next week with us. We like having you around. Well, it's going to be not so confusing because the way I do it. So you'll be able to get a good understanding. I break it down, and what I do is I take Elvis's voice out, and then we do a comparison of his voice per show, and then we analyze the music afterwards which one's a better production. So, and it's fun. I love doing it. I'm very anal about music. Have been my whole life. Yeah, I know. Sorry, C-Cat. I said,
Yeah, it happens.
30 minutes ago, dang Cam, I just took a bite of my burger. Oh, yeah, Lily, thank you. That's right. His Monday show. Yeah. I catch that every now and then. Sometimes I'm going to try to start working on this show earlier in the week so I'm not really pushed because I want to keep that watch party live on Saturday going. But, yeah, I've caught his last couple of shows. I usually have it on the background sometimes while I'm doing something else. But I'm making life easier because I have my new pen. And I can't drop it because it's freaking huge. Y'all see that?
You can't lose it either.
It's like I know. Well, yeah, I can. If I drop it, I know where it's going to go. It's going to go out to the backyard and be buried next to the tree. my Bailey. If you guys watched the inside the watch party last night, Bailey made an appearance, giving me kisses during the show, so that was fun. Listen, guys. Going home. Yeah, okay, yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I'll add that. We'll add that to it. That's a great song. The pen is like a flashlight. Yeah, that would have been cool. See, my hands are at the point where I have a hard time holding pens, and it's really hard now these days. These two fingers are numb, so I've had to learn how to finger the guitar a little bit differently, but I'm able to do it. Maybe one of the live watch parties, I'll be ready for it to throw in the ukulele. We can do maybe I just can't help believing and do a verse of that. Anyways, guys, Cam, fun. Cat Girl Blue, Lily, everybody, Lori. We still got 16 on board. So to all of you not on here, goodbye. Even the trolls. Thank you for stopping by and giving me the views. That really helps. And to each his own. I do your own thing. We're doing our thing, and we're having fun. So, peace to everybody. TCB. Cam, I'm going to leave it to you to say goodbye. Oh, I'll do that.
Guys.
Susan, I'll do that. All right.
Thank you, guys. Have a good week.
Yeah, we'll have we didn't bring up the fact that Cam got some more donations in this week, so really nice. He got $300 more for some donations, so I'm sending that to him tomorrow. So thank you, everybody. He's already got. He knows what he's going to get with it. So he's getting there. We're getting there. I can't believe we're so close to the goal that I set. But you guys are huge fans. I mean, huge. Great supporters. Bye. TCB. See you all Tuesday. Hopefully see you all Tuesday. If not, we'll see you next Saturday. If not, we'll see you next Sunday. Bye. This is it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.